If you've ever heard the word AI one too many times in a day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you've heard AI too much because we are going to keep talking about it. We are only at the beginning of this, so I better get ready for that. Well, we'll talk about NVIDIA's conference yesterday. Kind of a nothing burger, question mark. At least I think so. Curious to hear what you folks think. It is FOMC day, the big event of the week. So I want to get your opinion on what's going to happen here. I think we all think that the rates are going to be unchanged, but how's the market going to react? We're going to break all that down. We're going to look at some of the news. We're going to have plenty of time for stocks today. Tim Melvin is traveling, so he will not be joining us today, but we'll get him back here. Don't worry about it. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Wednesday, March 19th starts right now. All right, welcome back and happy Wednesday. Happy FOMC day. If you go by that, great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Asrar, good morning, everyone. Good morning, welcome back. Artisan Custom Homes, good morning, Benzingers. All right, looks like the coffee is flowing here this morning. That's exactly what we need. Paul, good morning, welcome back. Jonathan, it's great to see you as always. Chris, welcome back. You have a portion of NVIDIA short, which is a hedge against your Tesla long. You'll have to explain that here. See how both of those stocks shake out here today. Sun-kissed Yogi, welcome back. Allsorts, great to see you, man. Good morning. Ari Stock Market, good morning. Couch Potato, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Ivan, back in the house, part of the Benzie gang. Let's go, Ivan. Welcome back. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning, man. It's great to see you again. Sebastian Fluna, just intentionally spelling my name wrong, but still getting the pronunciation right. Impressive. Most impressive. In the house, good morning, Sebastian. Welcome back. Terlingua, good morning. Welcome to Insomniac Central, game 2 for the Big Blue Wrecking Crew from Japan. The world champs showing why they are the world champs. Only 160 to go. Sorry, Cubbies. Yeah, actually, last I checked, it was 6-3. Cubs aren't going down without a fight. That Shohei home run, that looked like fan interference to me, but we won't nitpick that. I'm glad baseball is back. And let me tell you something, Terlingua. I am really glad that we get some morning baseball. That's pretty sweet. Watching sports in the morning, pretty awesome. And rarely are things on at 5 and 6 a.m. I'll take it, though. I'll take it. Bobby, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Reaching Financial Freedom. I think I already said good morning, but good morning again. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, welcome. Stella joining us on X. Good morning. Day Trader, locked in as always. Good morning. Good to see you. Tyler, welcome back. Harley, welcome back. Ralph, Rafat, and Larry, welcome back. Purgatory Park, what's up? Good morning. Welcome back. Market Sniper, great to see you, man. Yassine, welcome back. Ed, welcome back. Hellcat, welcome back. Siobhan, good morning. Kayla, good morning. Shamir, good morning. And Pinching Pennies, good morning. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's take a look at what's going on here. We'll start with the SPY. Really, the question for me is, did we not test the 200-day on this bounce? Really? Because we pretty much traded back up towards it, and this is exactly what I was looking for, but we did not quite get back to the line itself. And so I didn't feel confident about entering a short there. Now, we did pull back yesterday, but was that just a setup for a pop today? That's what we'll have to wait and see. I give it really a coin flip, to be quite honest with you. I really think that the market could trade up today. Or could really get pounded. I don't think we're going to get any surprises from the FOMC here today. I definitely think they're going to pause. They're not going to cut. They're not going to hike. It's pretty much, if you look at the Fed watch tool, it's a near certainty that that's what's going to happen here. So I don't think we're going to get any surprises on that front. We had a really good question yesterday in the happy hour and a really good discussion about it. Question was, if everyone pretty much knows what Powell's going to do, like, why is this kind of an event? Like, what are we waiting for? Really, the question here is, it seems like it's just kind of being overhyped. And while I'm not going to dispute that some of these prints are overhyped at all, the answer is that we're actually getting some of the projection material in this meeting. or released from this decision here. So what I'm referring to here is the dot plot, and we're going to see what the Fed thinks about future cuts, and then market is going to react and perhaps and possibly, or excuse me, probably overreact to that data. So my big thing here, I don't think we're going to get any surprises, but I do want to see how the market reacts. And I want to see if the market is going to try and do its customary fake out thing where that first move is not the actual move. And then we go in whatever direction we're going to go. So I want to see if we get a fake out here today. And I want to see if we continue. I think we've got one of two scenarios. I really don't think we chop around in this area, frankly. We'll see if that's the case. If that's the case, I won't be making any money trading off of it because I just don't think that's going to happen. I think one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to trade up into a resistance level, which I'm hoping is the 200-day. Might also coincide with that 9 EMA as that continues to, or excuse me, the 20-day moving average as that continues to come down, or do we break down, retest the 10% pullback level, maybe even dip beneath that 530, 525? That really seems to be the consensus bottom for those that really think we're going to move lower. My thought on this is the sooner we do that, the better that is, right? The more that we kind of toy around and bounce and then get smashed on the backside of that, the more it's just going to beat people up. Market loves to do that. So we'll see if that's what we get. But what I'm waiting for out of the Fed today, do we move up and test a resistance level? And at least in my trading plan, that's probably going to provide good short entry, or at least the ability to leg in to a short entry. Or do we just start breaking down and going to test that 10% pullback level? I actually wouldn't even be shocked if we bounce from that 10% pullback level. But I would, if we do, I would expect that bounce would be less of an amplitude than the last one that we got. So we'll see. I'd be curious to know what the group thinks here. Where do you think we're going? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think the market is going to do post-Fed decision here? Do you think Powell's going to have an impact on anything? You think the dot plot is going to freak people out? Curious to know what you guys think here. Jonathan says, some say the no rate cut is priced in. I would agree with that. So are you saying that if we just get what we expect, it's business as usual and we keep kind of leaking? What do you think the market reaction is to that? Hans saying Powell speaking is the thing. It always is, Hans. They count the number of times he says certain words. They compare the current transcript to the last one, and they see what's different, and then they overblow that. Absolutely, that is. And there's probably going to be questions about the future pace that they're going to go through, too. And Powell's going to speak to that, and that's going to dovetail with this. Bobby G says it's the Fed speak we're worried about. We're worried about. See last comment there to Hans. I completely understand. Jonathan, oh, you had already answered my question. I just needed to keep reading. Cool. You think we go higher? So everything as we kind of expect. The no cut is priced in, and the market just kind of moves higher here today. We'll see if we end up getting that. That would actually be really good for the trade that we're hoping to do if we're able to re-short at that 200-day if we can't break above it. Good stuff there, folks. Good morning, James. Great to see you again. Manny, good morning. Hans, last time he was on the air, the market went up. Let's hope we get 2 for 2. Again, my hope here, I really don't think we're going to take out the highs. So I'm not necessarily expecting like a huge bullish run. We're going to all get long and feel good. I think we're going to probably trade up to one of these levels, might even overshoot that 200-day and really kind of draw people in, get a close above that 200-day, draw some of the bulls in, and then maybe retest some of these lows here. We'll see, though. Again, kind of looking at seasonality, March 24th through 26th represents the bottoming period. We still have some more days to go. So a move up here today, followed by a couple of days of selling, I could totally see that. And I think that would make this chart look really, really juicy. Market rarely does what I want it to do, though. So we'll factor that in as well. Yassine, you think we dump right after Powell here? Okay, sweet. Sorry, my gosh. Easy money. The rate cut was priced in December, and we fell hard. So, okay, you're thinking if what happens here today is already priced in, maybe I love this. This is what makes the market. We got people on both sides of this. Awesome. Harris, good morning, Harris. Welcome back. No rate cuts until June. There's not much Powell could say that he hasn't. that would be a negative surprise. Okay, really good way of thinking at that. What do you think of the dot plot? Do you think that we're going to get any type of clarity on forward cuts, or it's not the right word, cuts in the future? Matthew, anything other than a rate cut will be negative, I think. Okay, so Matthew here thinking if we just everything's priced in, we pause, maybe we kind of roll over. I love this. I love that we've got people on both sides of this. MSCI is a safe play. Reverse that. That's SMCI. We'll actually take a look at here at SMCI as well. They had some news yesterday, so we can actually dive right into that. Actually, we'll do that first here, just so I don't forget, because I have a tendency to do that, and it's tied to NVIDIA, which are what the next stories are going to be about. We could spend a little bit more time there. Again, the whole thing was kind of a nothing burger, I thought. For any of you that maybe watched the stream, good job, producer, by the way, yesterday. For any of you that watched the stream, let me know what you thought. Was it a nothing burger? Were you encouraged? What was the deal there? Let me actually extend this channel here for SMCI so we can capture the current price action. I want to keep that upper boundary the same. There we go. Okay, so here's your channel on SMCI. What happened here? Let's review the news, then we can take a look back at the chart. Any of you that are trading SMCI, I'd love to know what your position is. I know this. Oh, come on, Windows. There we go. I know that this has kind of been one of those battleground stocks, the whole auditor fiasco. let's just call it an auditor fiasco, financials fiasco, whatever. Seems like that's in the rearview mirror, at least so far. Maybe something kicks up again, but it looks like they kind of navigated those troubled waters so far here. Anyway, news that we got yesterday right after the bell: Supermicro expands enterprise AI portfolio of over 100 GPUs optimized systems supporting the upcoming NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell Server Edition and the NVIDIA H200 NVL platform. So there you go. It unveils a new system and rack solutions powered by NVIDIA's Blackwell Ultra platform. So SMCI has, used NVIDIA products for a while. None of this is new. One of the things that we were wondering is, hey, if their accounting is all funky, is NVIDIA actually getting the right amount of orders, or actually getting the money, yada, yada, yada. Looks like all of that is behind us here, at least temporarily. And now we're getting a new server rack platform here for SMCI. Now, SMCI is up 1.3% here this morning. And oh, shoot, I never did a futures check-in this morning. The market is actually trading up today, and it has strengthened from this morning. So it was actually red really early in the morning here. S&P futures up just over 0.2 here this morning. Dow futures up 0.05%, and the NASDAQ futures up 0.36%. So that early weakness has shifted to some green arrows, but really none of it matters until we hear from the Fed, or until we see how the market reacts to the Fed. Now, if we take a look here at SMCI, as I was saying, it does seem like some of the fiasco stuff is behind them. And if we take a look here, at the chart, we're still in this down channel. So NVIDIA and SMCI both obeying the parallel channel to the downside that we've identified here. Now, it did try to break out of this channel as well as breaking the 200-day, but boy, oh boy, that was short-lived, really couldn't do it. And it looks like it has not had the strength to break above the 500-day and the top end of this channel. So this would be something to watch here. Current price is 34.85. We're pretty much right above the 50. That would be step one, I suppose, if we can hold that here today. If we look recently, going back to November here, we have made a series of higher lows. So all of that stuff is pretty good. Next here, though, again, you've got a couple of really key levels in here. This volume shelf area, this volume point of control, even if I back out to the beginning of last year, we've got that here at about $41. And we're really going to need some type of, you can see here from the last run up, we've had this declining volume. Boy, that's going to really need to turn around if we're going to get above any of these resistance levels. Banging against it is one thing, but actually clearing it and closing above it is another. Williams percent R starting to look a little bit better as we come up off the bottom. RSI kind of in no man's land here, and MACD histogram looks like it's compressing. Let me actually make that a little bit bigger and see. Yeah, actually, I think that's the moving average line. So it looks like that's compressing a little bit here. We'll see if SMCI has the strength to go higher. Is anyone trading this? Does anyone have any open trades on this? Are you looking into this here? And furthermore, do you have any thought on the news and the new product, the server rack? I understand if some of you have no experience with it, but just curious here. So SMCI had some good news. It is up 1.3% here. I don't know if it's, terribly surprising or groundbreaking or any of that. But this is the read here on SMCI. Okay, let me just go through the chat here real quick. Purgatory Park, baked in. This was regarding the interest rates from the FOMC decision here today. Baked in, just like Powell himself, pay off the edibles, Jerry. Tell them how you really think, Purgatory Park. Polymarket is 99 for no cut for March. Yeah, the Fed watch tool is the same. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Powell can wear a green tie in the market dumps. That would actually be pretty funny, especially if it was like, hey, this is my St. Patrick's Day tie from earlier this week. I decided to wear it today. The market just goes blood red. That'd be crazy. I think the betting markets are thinking 1 to 3 rate cuts for the year, but I'll leave it to Powell to confirm. That's kind of what I've heard too. Let's see, 3 cuts, we would probably be July, September, and then December. Is that the window that we're kind of thinking if there are 3 cuts? Almost makes sense if they want to kind of keep kicking the can down the road and waiting this out if there's 2. But I like what you said there. We'll see if the dot plot or Powell can confirm either of that for us here today. Deepak, they will pause for now. If inflation continues to be down, there will be 3 rate cuts. Okay, so if we keep making progress on inflation, you think they're going to kind of be in a hurry or cut at the top end of the predicted range. Could see it. Hello says resistance is fake. I'll tell you what, you should join us on Friday for Mark Petrino when we cover support and resistance. We'll see. Market makers need money for their Coke habits. Oh, that's good. Okay. Good morning, Ryan. Go Habs, go. Good morning, Maverick. Actually didn't see the Habs. I was disappointed in the Hawks last night, but that's another thing. I think June is the soonest, says Harris, for the rate cut. We'll see if we end up getting that. Okay. All right, let's take a look here at NVIDIA. We'll start with the NVIDIA chart, then we can dive into what happened in the kind of the nothing burger conference yesterday. NVIDIA, like SMCI, still in a downward parallel channel. This goes back to last year on NVIDIA, and it does look like this trend line here that we've been looking at, this particular trend line runs from the April 2024 lows through the yen carry trade lows and then up here to one of the recent pullback areas in February. This is now acting as resistance as the price is trying to get back up. We're dancing right around the middle line of this channel. We're actually beneath the 20-day moving average as well. Now we're beneath that trend line and we're unable to get above that. So we'll see here. We do have NVIDIA here. We do have the death cross literally forming today. We've got the 50 crossing through the 100. It looks like that's going to the downside. Curious to see how NVIDIA ends up here today. RSI is in no man's land. MACD histogram has already kind of turned green, and the Williams percent hour on its way back up. So NVIDIA really, again, kind of a coin flip here. Can really go either way. Let's take a look at the news story here. NVIDIA AI boom is just beginning. God, stop me if you've heard that before. As Blackwell gains traction and Rubin Ultra raises the power bar, says Gene Munster. Here we go with the discussion about power. There's another thing I'd like to get your folks' opinion on. I know we've seen some of those energy stocks really got cracked. CEG, remember how good that was? And then all of a sudden how good it wasn't? Man, oh man, I wonder if some of these other power stocks are going to provide some opportunities with the volatility going back and forth. But I digress. Deepwater Asset Management managing partner Gene Munster. We like Gene here. I'm actually trying to get him on too. That'd be really sweet. We'll ask him about a lot of these different tech stocks. Been doing a really good job following him for a number of years now. Gene Munster highlighted 5 key takeaways in NVIDIA's recent keynote presentation. Jensen Huang dedicated about a third of his 2-hour plus keynote, emphasizing that AI infrastructure build-out is still in its early stages. Again, nothing new there. We all kind of know that. Munster said, noting that NVIDIA shares traded down 2.5% during the presentation compared to the NASDAQ's 0.2% decline. NVIDIA did not have a great day yesterday. In fact, when I joined the stream that we were doing, shout out producer, there were more people in the stream talking about the leather jacket and the zippers on the leather jacket than any of the content within the presentation. And generally speaking, I know we can sometimes have a surly bunch here, and that's not a bad thing. But if there's like really big, important business things being broken or discussed there, generally the conversation is not about his jacket, or that conversation resolves really quickly. That's not what happened, at least not from what I saw here. The keynote featured expected product announcements. I think that's one of the key things about the Nothing Burger here. They were all expected. There's really nothing out of the blue here, including Blackwell Ultra Rubin and co-packaged optics technology that enables data centers to deploy more GPUs. Okay, NVIDIA has consistently delivered around a 4x increase in AI computing power across generations, from Hopper in 2022 to Blackwell in 2024 and to the anticipated Rubin in 2026. Munster pointed out that Rubin Ultra will require 4.5 times the power compared to Blackwell, calling this good for Vertiv Holdings, ticker VRT. Do any of you trade VRT? Are any of you buying that and buying VRT? VRT up here about 0.5%. Here in the pre-market. The other thing that happened here, we'll talk a little bit more about this next. Again, I'm not sure how much of a mover this is, and I'm trying to remove my own bias from this, so I really like to hear from you folks. During the keynote, Huang announced a partnership with GM, which is only up 0.25% here today, for autonomous vehicles, declaring that, quote, "the time for autonomous vehicles has arrived," end quote. No, I don't think that it has, but we'll see. The collaboration includes factory planning, robotics, advanced driver assistance systems, and in-cabin safety features built on the Blackwell architecture. Hopefully it doesn't overheat, and we might be in trouble. Munster remains skeptical about GM's autonomous driving prospects, writing, "I'd be surprised if anything significant comes from GM's autonomy efforts, given that they shut down Cruise back in December." Okay, well, I thought that the time for autonomous driving was here. I guess not. Gene's a bright guy. I like to be on the same team as him. Catching up to Alphabet, Google's backed Waymo, and Tesla is, quote, "difficult in what is largely a winner takes most market," end quote. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole self-driving car here, or the self-driving. Here, a little bit more information on this. The GM partnership here, there were a couple of comments from Mary Barra that I wanted to go into. This was we already talked about that. GM has enjoyed a long-standing partnership with NVIDIA, leveraging its GPUs across our operations, said Mary Barra. AI not only optimizes manufacturing processes and accelerates virtual testing, but also helps us build smarter vehicles while empowering our workforce to focus on craftsmanship, end quote. I'll be honest with you, that just kind of sounds like words. One of my first jobs out of college, I actually went to an automotive repair school for GM, a GM-sponsored program where I worked on GM cars, worked in a GM dealership alongside learning. I love cars. I've always loved cars. I've loved wrenching. I loved fixing and making cars faster and the whole 9 yards. I've seen a bunch over the course of my life. And I can tell you that when they're talking about empowering our workforce to focus on craftsmanship, that sounds really, really good. But one of the if you've worked on cars, or if you've pulled cars apart, or if you don't even have to do that. If you've owned a whole bunch of cars, you know that there is a substantial difference from car company to car company. I'm sorry, GM is just not a BMW. It is not a Cadillac. It is not a Mercedes. The craftsmanship is not on par. So while this sounds good, it's tough for me to make any types of decisions about this. These are just words. And until we actually see some of this in practice, I'm not sure how much that means. Now, what's she supposed to do? She's supposed to come out there and smack talk her own company? Of course not. Again, I'm just looking at GM up 0.5% here today. I don't know. I don't know how big this is, how early this is, and what the actual application is in here. It's much easier for me to understand self-driving versus all of these other, AI processes that's going to send its tentacles through the company and make everything better. Just doesn't have a whole lot of specifics there. We are thrilled to partner with GM to build AI systems tailored to their vision, craft, and know-how. So it looks like they're going to build some of these chips specifically for GM. Okay. And then there was a highlight here on physical AI. Everybody wins at this year's Super Bowl. I don't think he watches football, to be quite honest with you. That's Impossible. All right, let's go back to the charts here real quick. We already took a look at NVIDIA. This, again, to my eye here, sure looks like this wants to roll over. That'd be great for the market that we're actually projecting here, or for what I'm hoping happens. That'd be great for my case. We'll see if we end up getting that here. Here's your GM chart, since we were just talking about that. See if there's a trade. Oh, really? Let me see if I can refresh this and get this back here, because we were just looking at GM earlier today, and it was working fine. Okay, guess not. What on earth happened here? Is it all of them? Tell me if this is all of them. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind if this is all the charts. Damn it! All right, give me a sec here. Let me see what's going on. Sorry for the dead air. Sucks doing this by myself. Okay. That was the hawk, wasn't it, producer? Hawkish. the chart error is. I wonder, is it just individual stocks? Is it everything? Oh my God, it is everything. You got to be kidding me. Okay, let me actually go back here to, I do want to roll through some more of the news, and I think that this is just probably a plugin. So we'll go back and we can take a look at the GM chart here when that gets resolved. Let me go ahead and share this tab. We'll talk here a little bit about Tesla. Let me catch up here and see if there was anything that you guys had mentioned here. GM is equal to Toyota. Less than, greater than Toyota? I don't know. When the charts come back, can you look at the trade desk? Yeah, let me actually add that. We're actually going to have plenty of time today. Is that Emily? We have plenty of time today, Emily, to look at all of these. So let me go ahead and start adding these. Trade desk is definitely one that we've looked at. I'm available to help co-host. Okay. I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. Normally it's not a problem, but when stuff dies like that, I have to report and be on camera at the same time. Anyway, and reaching financial freedom regarding the NVIDIA death cross. How is the volume on that? I see it low. Well, the death cross is happening today, and we're only in the pre-market here. So the volume is absolutely low. You definitely want to pay attention to what that volume candle looks like at the end of the day. But we've actually, 13, shout out to him. He's actually been talking about this death cross coming up for a number of days. Actually, I think a number of weeks at this point. So we were kind of expecting this. Let's see what the volume actually is at the end of the day. Thank you, Anne-Marie. I appreciate that. GM is not equal to Toyota. Okay. Makes sense. There's actually a symbol for not equal, but I don't know the alt code. I won't hold you to it, Hellcat. Okay. Let's keep talking here about Tesla. I know Tesla is one of the we'll call it a battleground stock at this point, has been for a while. News here, Elon Musk calls it, quote, extreme domestic terrorism, end quote, after website publishes data on U.S. Tesla owners. Just right off the top here, I agree with this completely. And I hope that they are able to track down a lot of these people and punish them to the fullest extent of the law. I'd actually like them to go a little bit above and send a message here that this type of stuff is completely inappropriate. Here's the reality. Publishing people's names because of a car that they bought, this does nothing to the company. You're literally giving private information for individuals because of something that they did in the past when circumstances were different. This makes absolutely no sense. And this is disgusting, childish behavior, and it should absolutely be punished. So I can understand being mad at Elon, not trusting Elon, all of these things about Elon. That's fine. And I don't fault you for that. I also don't fault I don't fault anybody for making decisions with their wallet. That is what makes capitalism great, or one of the things that makes capitalism great. But to turn that away from the company and then to individuals who are actually feeling the brunt of this, it makes absolutely no sense. And it's just, it's completely wrong. What happened here? Quote, encouraging the destruction of Teslas throughout the country is an extreme domestic terrorism, Musk wrote on X, responding to reports that a site called DogeQuest had published names, addresses, and phone numbers of Tesla owners, alongside an interactive map featuring a Molotov cocktail cursor. Again, nothing here is going to hurt the company, really. This just really endangers individuals, and I have a problem with that. The website reportedly demands owners prove that they've sold their vehicles to have their information removed, apparently in response to Musk's role in Trump's administration. Yikes. I think, let's see, this is, and then this was, here's Mario Nafal. I think I always mess up his last name. I'm sorry, Mario. He does really good stuff here. He has a tweet here showing all of that pretty nasty stuff. Public demonstration against Tesla has grown more common. We talked about Ross Gerber's comments yesterday. A huge Tesla bull turned Tesla bear, doesn't really like it. And we've taken a look here at Tesla stocks, or Tesla stock on a regular basis here. Okay. Let's see what else. Was there anything else from this article? The tensions coincide with Musk's department. No, that was pretty much it. Trump purchased a Tesla Model S Plaid. I hear those things are super, super fast. Okay. Let me see. What did I miss here? Doxing is criminal. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Okay. So if Tesla's planning to double production the next 2 years, the current card will plummet in price. The current cars will plummet in price as new cars get cheaper. Secondhand Teslas will be worth nothing. I'd like to see other car manufacturers speak up about it. Actually, I would like to see that too. I'm not sure if we're going to get that, but I'd like to see that too. Jonathan, this is actually a very real issue that you're bringing up here. Resale values, not just on Teslas, but on most electric cars, not great. And you're right. If you do kind of just create a new model or you lower the price on all of these, that's going to hurt an already struggling cohort even more. So interesting to see how that shakes out. All right. I don't think we are. Let's see if we've got that resolved. Looks like they are on it. Hey, oh my gosh. Okay. So it's better. We've got the 1 minute. Looks like we're backfilling some of the data here. I'll try refreshing this again. I did want to take a look at that GM chart. No, okay, they're still working on this. I got a couple more news stories to go through. Hopefully, we're all set on the back end of that. Let's go back to this. Kathy Wood's big Tuesday bet. ARK pours $7.8 million into Tempest AI despite the stock stumble. Here we go with the AI stuff again. Did anyone else buy Tempest, or did anyone follow Kathy into this? Or anything, let me know. I know that this was something that we were trading back and forth here pretty frequently. Kathy Wood-led ARK Invest made significant trades involving Tempest AI, AMD, and Meta. The Tempest AI trade saw ARK, the Genomic Revolution ETF, go up. Let me see. I'm looking for one of the quotes in here. Detail stock analysis, 2.8 decline. Nope. Okay, so here we go. So in addition to AMD and TEM, ARK dumped over 7 million shares worth of Meta on Monday amid reports the company's global expansion efforts and privacy practices are attracting increased scrutiny. Also, on top of that, remember, one of the things that we've discussed here about Meta, this is the last stock from the Mag 7 that hasn't tested its 200-day. It's the last one that's actually above its 200-day. Maybe she thinks that that's the next domino to fall, the next tech stock to fall here. I would imagine that if it does, she'd probably be a buyer of Meta if it gets down to a specific level. Also, other key trades, UiPath sold about 500,000 shares here. So they sold UiPath, sold Illumina, that's ticker ILMN, and bought GitLab and bought Iridium Communications. So a little bit of a portfolio shakeup there for Kathy Wood. Okay, let's go back. Fingers crossed, folks. Fingers crossed. Drum roll. And nope, not yet. Not yet. We're going to keep trying. They're saying people are lying. Okay. One more here real quick. For those of you that still follow Larry Summers, today is your day. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers said that the central bank is facing, quote, the most difficult challenge, end quote, amid higher prices and fewer jobs. This comes as the Federal Reserve is slated to announce its decision on interest rates Wednesday afternoon. Larry Summers expects the apex bank's monetary policy setting body, the Federal Reserve, to hold interest rates constant. No one's surprised at that. He holds tariffs responsible for the challenging situation. Quote, this is what tariffs do. If you're the Federal Reserve, you can't figure out if you go to the brakes because of the price increases or the accelerator because of lost jobs. So I suspect the Fed won't move interest rates. They say they need more data and they are watching. None of that is new. None of that is new. Holy smokes. And then he cites CNN as one of the things in there. LOL. All right. So we'll see here. We'll see here which way this goes. We'll see if we get any fireworks out of the Fed here today. Does anyone think we are going to get fireworks? You're doing a really good job saying you think the market's going to go up or down or whatever it is. But do you think that we're going to see like fireworks, like a big move here today, or is it going to be fairly orderly, fairly low volume? Bobby also saying here regarding TEM, meanwhile, insiders at TEM are dumping like madmen. What does that remind you of? Palantir, right? Ton of insiders selling Palantir as well. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want to do? You know what the other thing that I wanted to do here real quick? Let me roll through some of the other important news that we had here. Also, some of the movers, some of the other things that are going to go on here. We definitely are going to talk about BDRX. That's up 32%. I know that's one of the movers that you folks are going to want to go over. TRNR, looks like we've got some recent news here. Someone mentioned this, didn't they? Someone is already on TRNR here today. I can't find it in the chat here, but I'm pretty sure that you folks are already on top of that. Interactive Strength shares trading higher after the company issued shareholder update and reiterated 50 million plus pro forma guidance. So we'll see here. TRNR up 13%. Remember, this is just about $1. So we'll see if they can hold any of its gains here. What other news did we have off this? Autodesk had earnings. Cargo Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced 90% workforce reduction. 90%. And then thank you, producer, for throwing up that poll. Definitely give me those results. I'll read those as soon as we close that poll. Okay. Okay. This very specific. I like this. Strong Island. Let's go. The minute statement is factual based, so it has to sound dovish. His Q&A will have a hawkish undertone since he doesn't like Trump, and they'll use tariffs to elicit that hawkish tone. Interesting. I could totally see that. But still, though, I don't think that touches on what they're going to do going forward. I'd be curious to see how he talks about what they're going to do going forward, how he handles all of that. That's really, I think, the big thing for me here today. All right, let's see if we have all of this resolved. Let me actually flip back over to my chart tool here. Let's try switching it and see if that does anything. And then we'll try it. There we go. We got the 1 minute chart back. Okay, so we have some of the, well, let me actually just check here. So, okay, so we actually are kind of weakening here on the S&P. I still think that intraday, it's probably going to be more of a morning for some of these movers. I don't think we'll get the big pronounced moves until the Fed decision has already come out or until the conference starts here. Here's Tesla. Let me hide the drawings so it's a little bit easier to see. Tesla's actually having a fairly decent pre-market here. Did a pretty good job holding 225 from yesterday. It's trading up here by 2.7%. But again, this is just pre-market action here. I'd be very cute. I think that the big move or the carry through move is going to happen after the FOMC. We'll see which way we get that here. Okay. Let's see. TEM3 insider buys and one. So here, let me actually go to that here. We had the insider stuff from yesterday. Okay, we got the chart. Look at this. Look at this. This is all in. Oh man, So I knew that the insiders were selling. I didn't know it was this bad. That's the comment of the day here so far. Let me go back and find that here. Where was that? Why can't I find this? Why can't I? Oh, here we go. Bobby, thank you. Meanwhile, insiders at TEM are dumping like madmen. This is about the most accurate comment that we've had here so far this morning. CEO, chairman. I mean, look at all of them. EVP, everybody here selling, man, 80s, 90s. This is a huge range. This goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. Tell you what, it's been nothing but insider sales on TEM here this year. Oh, looks like we had a daily chart there for a second. TEM up here in the pre-market by almost 1%. All right, here's your daily chart. Looks like we might have these back now. Here's your daily chart for TEM. This is actually at an interesting spot here. I don't know if I trust it to go back up, especially with all that insider transactions that you folks were mentioning. Let's see if we have all of the charts back. We can play some catch up here. We do, and we have the drawings. Okay, so it was just as I suspected, just a disconnected data point. Okay, we already took a look at SPY. It was GM that we wanted to take a look at. Let me do that here real quick. We'll start with the GM chart. Now, this is kind of interesting just because of the spot that we're in. We're right here short of the 200-day and short of the 50-day moving average. We were not able to get above these yesterday, given that announcement. We'll see how it trades here today. I got to think that this is probably a sell the news event until we get something else out of this. It is encouraging, though, because if we can get above the 200-day and the 50-day, and those values are at 49.04 and 49.21 respectively, so really 49. If we can get above 49 and maybe build, or 49.25, and maybe start building above there on GM, we're actually staring at a potential gap fill from 51. It looks like, is this 50? Yeah, it looks like from 51 to 54 and some change. They actually have a gap fill here with the 100-day right above at 51.5. So this is a pretty important spot here for GM, at least chart wise. And if it can get above this, we actually might be able to move towards filling that gap. So that actually would give a pretty decent trade. I'm just not sure I have the conviction on this. I'm not sure GM has the strength to do this one yet. Okay, we took a look at, that was GM, NVIDIA. We took a look at the insiders. We took a look at the TEM chart. What did I miss here? I think just the Tesla chart. We've kind of looked at this really recently. We're still kind of waiting on that gap fill, aren't we? Yep, right down here. Gap fill maybe to 217. Did we do that yesterday? I don't think we actually filled it, but we got real close. Wouldn't be surprised if Tesla kind of retests 200 here before it firms up. The one thing about the negative sentiment for Tesla that's going on here, remember, there's definitely going to be a contrarian trade eventually. Actually, it looks like it's already bounced once, but I think there's going to be a contrarian trade eventually. This reminds me a lot of Tim Melvin when he was saying that everyone hates Europe. Europe is terrible, this, that, and the other thing. So I'm interested in it. Eventually, you're going to get that same thing here with Tesla. And it looks like it is bouncing here today. So we'll see if we get a trade on that here today. Okay, that was all the news that I wanted to go over here today. Those were the stocks on the list. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Nope. And then your economic events here, gas and crude data at 10:30. Obviously, the FOMC announcement at 2, which is what we're waiting for in the press conference at 2:30. That's basically the agenda here for today. And then we'll definitely take a look at the trade desk. We can probably do that now. We still have some movers to go through, although that list is not crazy. And then any other stocks that you folks want to take a look at, we can go ahead and do that here. Real quick, Strong Island, adding to what you were saying earlier, if they mention ending QT, quantitative tightening, we fly. If not, it could be a dud. I could see this here too. I don't suspect we're necessarily going to get any comments on that, but we'll see. Fair enough. We'll see here. Harley saying, per Powell a week and a half ago, quote, the Fed has plenty of time concerning interest rates and have no interest in lowering rates due to the administration's desires. I anticipate no change. Completely agree. And frankly, there's really nothing else he can say. He's certainly not going to acquiesce. He is independent. No, Trump can't fire him. No, Trump can't remove him. So to me, this is completely expected. And this is also the right answer. Now, on the flip side of that, it does look like some of the policies, tariffs, and otherwise are trying to drive the data that the Fed is looking at to try and entice that move. And that's one of the things that we're tracking here. But Powell's comments there, the right comments to make, I think. Okay, Florida Yacht Insurance guy, you're still sitting on the sideline. We'll find a way to get you back in there. Always think dividend stocks are working for us. Tesla will probably close green today and then red Thursday and Friday. That wouldn't surprise me. And Christian, in addition to that, I actually wouldn't be terribly shocked if the market did exactly the same thing. If it closed green here today and then kind of rolled over, that wouldn't surprise me. Good morning, Rich. Good morning, Judge. Nice to see you here. Fair quantitative teasing. Fairchild, you make me laugh. Okay, TTD. Really, the only question here on the trade desk, where does the sell-off end? I mean, my God, has this thing been pummeled? You want to talk about cut in half and then cut in half again. We are on pace for that. Highs here of 140, definitely been cut in half from that spot. And it looks like we're on our way down here. Question is, where do we bottom? This thing really can't bounce. Even these green candles that are in here, barely bounce candles. This is what happens when you get a growth scare. When you have a stock that is moving on growth metrics, and then all of a sudden there's a growth scare and those growth metrics dry up, this is the type of thing that you see. What a huge move down. Congrats to anyone here that ended up playing this to the short side. You probably banked pretty hard. You might still be on vacation from that trade. Really good stuff. Now, with all that being said, at some point, this thing's going to bounce. I don't think the trade desk is going to zero. And I do think that this will probably bounce, and I would not be shocked if it bounced really hard. Remember, speaking of Anne-Marie Ban, who we're lucky to see here this morning, I believe it was Anne-Marie, said a couple of times, when we have a bearish tape, some of those bounces can be ferocious. Savage, I think, was the word that she used to get the quote right. And I wouldn't be shocked if we saw that here on the trade desk. Now, looking at some of these levels, we have a double bottom where this thing has formed some pretty good support going all the way back to 2022. That's in here at 42 3/4. All right, this actually goes down here to 40. So let's call it 42 to 43. All right, that $3 area down here should be extremely strong support. Now, the rest of this stuff in here, yeah, maybe it holds here at 48, but I don't know. And then obviously some of the other metrics here, this is extremely oversold, 21 here on the RSI, and it has been under the 30 level, the technical oversold level, since February 12th. This thing has been oversold for over a month. Williams percent R here, minus 97 point. This actually might be the most oversold reading we've seen since we've talked with Tim Melvin regarding Williams percent R. Yikes. Lion here saying the bottom is near. I got to think so, if at minimum a bounce off of some type of support. But looking at the chart here, really the only big one that I would feel good again are using here, 40 to 43. Okay. Whoever asked about the trade desk, let me know. Let me know if that was helpful, and let me know if there's anything else that you wanted to go over. I guess we could take a look at the insiders here. Might as well, right? Looks like we don't have the same insider selling pressure that we did in some of the other stock. Did have the president do it in early February and early January, but it wasn't huge, and it wasn't like some of the other ones. And that was when the stock price was obviously much higher. You know what would be interesting here is if we start now with this precipitous decline, especially one down too near a support level, it'd be very interesting to watch insider purchases here. Remember, you can sell stock for a number of reasons. There's only one that insiders buy it for. So that would be something to watch here for ticker TTD. Paul says when TTD gets close to 40, sell everything you have and buy. I cannot get on board going full port into anything, Paul, but what I can say here is at least you have a plan. Hopefully your plan works. Just be careful. I think you should always stay diversified. All right, folks, let me go ahead and bring on 13. We're going to check in with him. 13, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy FOMC day. How are you doing here today?
Yes, happy FOMC day. I'm doing just fine. How's everybody out there? Hope the morning's been treating you all well.
Yeah, it looks like we're all pretty good. Everyone seems like they're in a good mood here. We got I love the amount of predictions that people are making here on the market. What they see here, we're varying across the board, which is ideal. That is exactly what we want. So looks like it's a pretty good morning. What do you want to take a look at here?
Well, I could start with the movers, and then we
Sure.
could move on to whatever it was y'all were talking about.
Okay. First thing here, TTD trade desk. One of the other things that I kind of left off here, the trend line. This looks. You had actually had me draw this yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. That trend line support there, right under 50. So that would be another potential level for this thing to bounce at. Do you have anything else here on the trade desk? Any levels or anything?
If it managed to like shoot down today to that trend line, it'd be at about $45 where you could see support kick in. But I mean, that's a guess. I don't think that we're going to see that happen. But the trend line gets lower every day that this doesn't touch it. So
yep, indeed. Okay, we'll check back in here on the trade desk, especially after we open, see if we have a trade there. By the way, S&P futures are ticking up here in the pre-market. Okay, let's do these movers. Let's get these out of the way here real quick. Let me get back to pre-market, Gainers pre-market session. By the way, shout out to Benzinga Pro. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best gap scanner on the market. Just super easy to use, show you all the stocks that are going to gap up, and it actually gives you some ability to filter some of that. First stock on the list here, I have no idea what you covered. So if there are stocks that you want to start with, we can. I'll start here with ticker LSE. This is Lishan Energy Holdings. I believe this is a Chinese name here. These are trading higher. The company reported financial results. So it looks like we got an earnings print here. Got that yesterday after hours. Doesn't look like it's all that great. Strong operating cash flow and stable gross margins. Okay, this is going to be a Chinese energy company.
It doesn't look like it's very old either. Like it IPO'd back at the end of last year.
Is this Chinese though?
I believe it is.
Doesn't say in here. I think that it is though.
Well,
sorry.
When you click the website, it very much gives you the impression that it is Chinese.
Here's what 13 is talking about. Yes. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Normally it mentions it in the little blurb there, but I actually had to click through. Good shout there, 13. Okay, really quick look around the horn before we take a look at key levels here. We did have the recent update here on the short interest, and it's negligible. So with this being kind of a newer issue here, doesn't really have a whole lot of shorts built up. 0.01%, not even worth it. 1.52 million shares in the float here on this one. You got anything on this?
This is moving on relative volume after they had their earnings report. I think it was yesterday. But anyway, so that's what that's moving on. And I didn't really have a lot of information on their financials, so very little read on their income. It appears that they don't have a whole lot of debt, but beyond that, not really getting a whole lot out of information on this company. So. Looking at the technicals here, it seems that we've had 3 impulsive moves in the actually one in the after hours yesterday, and then 2 in the pre-market here. So that's given us a little bit of a trend line, an uptrend line, but it also looks like that could be where we're also getting resistance. So if we manage to get back over VWAP in pre-market here and start trading up again, I'd be looking at that trend line as resistance again. Otherwise, it'll try if the volume's expanded enough, it'll break through it. Otherwise, it's just going to reject and come back in like it has the past 3 times.
Okay, and the other thing here, looking at the daily chart, the last thing that this thing had a really sizable move like it did here today, came right back in very, very short order, so keep that in mind. Okay, good stuff there, LSE. Next one I have here is going to be BDTX. This is Black Diamond Therapeutics. We do have another news catalyst here on this one. Black Diamond Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced a global licensing agreement with Servier, maybe? I don't know. For BDX 4933. Again, quick look here at BDTX. 22% of the float shorted with 17 and a half days to cover. I think we are definitely have a potential for a short squeeze here. The one thing to keep in mind, 33 million, just 30, almost 34 million shares in the float. The stock on average trades less than a million shares, but today it's traded just about 22 million shares. So this thing's getting rolling here, and it does have some coverage. 13, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, 33 million shares in the float. The short interest you covered. It has about, based on its cash burn rate, it has about 2 quarters worth of cash. But this deal that this licensing deal they've made with Servier, they're going to get 70 million up front. So I think that's going to take care of the cash situation for at least 2 to 4 quarters. The other thing is that this BDTX-4933, that's in phase 1 right now. So there's going to be some future headlines coming out about the advancement of that. And I haven't read through this press release, so I don't know what milestones they have to achieve in order to get up to that 710 million that they're apparently contracted for with Servier. So you'd have to read into that if this is something you're going to want to play again in the future. But just know that there's going to be some milestones, some development milestones that this company's going to get from Servier. So I think that might be different phases that they complete.
Okay, good stuff there. BDTX and 13. I hope you're ready. I really hope you're ready, man.
Why is that?
BDTX is one of the movers, and guess what? So is BDRX. So we're going to have real similar tickers here. I'm going to just apologize in advance right now. I'm likely going to screw this up here today. Sorry about that. Always double check your tickers, especially on a day like today. BDRX, Biodexa Pharmaceuticals. Biodexa Pharmaceuticals shares are trading higher after the company announced it is on track to initiate a phase 3 trial in FAP next quarter. So yeah, get your laughs out here. Get your laughs out here. It looks like we got phase 3 fapping trials here. Can't even believe
that's a familial adenomatomus polypsis.
Yeah, I was going to let you try that one. It's a name there with a disease there with a whole bunch of letters in those words.
We're going to call it FAP.
We're going to laugh all day. 5.4% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover on this. Micro float here, under 1 million shares, 668,000 shares in the float. We've traded 22.2 million shares here today. All right, 13. What do you got on this one here? You think we got a trade on this one? We got some levels from the last time we traded this.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any confusion here because one with the similar ticker looks like it's doing better than this one. This is probably the bad one. Let's call this the bad one. There's the good one. So if it starts with BD and you're not sure which one we're talking about, we'll just say it's a good or a bad one. This one is another one of these companies that will put out a PR piece, and it's the most insignificant piece of news, like, oh, they just completed the next step in the loan process, or the CEO woke up and did something today. This is they've had a ton of information, a lot of headlines regarding their phase 3 program, and the most recent one was that they announced the outcome of the Type C meeting with the FDA. So it's there's these little pieces that just really shouldn't cause the stock to run, but it's running anyway. I would think that this would be another one of those that ends up coming in towards the open, and maybe it finds a bottom and tries to turn around. But I would not put a lot of weight on this one. I think it's going right back to where it started.
Quick look at the daily chart tells me that this stock is not one to be trusted.
Yeah.
This thing just absolutely smoked here. If we take a look at the splits, this thing has done a 1 for 25 reverse in 2024 and a 1 for 80 reverse in 2023. I would be entirely unshocked if this did another one, but nonetheless,
not yet.
Okay,
both a little too small.
Not yet, but again,
they need to make an offering first and get that the shares diluted, and then they can do that.
Fair enough. The last time that we talked about this one, here were some of the levels that we took a look at after this huge pop, almost up to $10. Look where we are here today. It's been nothing but disappointment. So just be careful if you trade this one. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. Just be careful. Know what this thing is capable of doing. Next here on the list is ADTX. This is probably one of the big one of the better ones from yesterday, I should say. Had a huge pop yesterday, moved from about $5 to $10, pretty much doubled up here. Came back in, retraced some of that move. That's pretty normal, and it looks like we're popping here in the pre-market. Shares are trading higher. This is from yesterday. This is all the news from yesterday. Submitted an application for federal funding. Again, we covered that yesterday. This was from yesterday morning. So it looks like this is just kind of a relative value move. Again, really quick check in here on the short interest on this one, 12.42%, but only 1 day to cover. We can probably soak all that up here today. Another micro float stock, though. 315,000 shares in the float.
Yeah, it's funny. You look at the daily chart and you see this long, yeah, you see, you see it's just coming for a landing, and it seems to be making its way to the terminal. But the funny thing is that yesterday, that big volume spike, well, that was the real news. And we've got this movement here today on that relative volume. Maybe it continues to go up. Hold on a second. Let me see where it's going to end up. If it does, maybe it does continue to trade up beyond $10. And if it does, well, then you are facing a bit of a gap fill here. And that gap fills up to, sorry, 1 second.
13 and change?
Yeah, 13.28. So that would be, I think, the best case scenario there. I didn't cover this one. Float is very small. Cash position, it doesn't seem like they have any, and they lose a lot. So be careful with this one. I'd anticipate them needing to raise money soon. They just did the reverse split. So what comes next is the capital raise. Be careful of an offering.
Okay. Good stuff there. ADTX. This is another one that we mentioned earlier. TRNR. Someone else mentioned this. I think maybe Jonathan. Maybe that was you that was on this. I can't remember. Someone's on this one earlier here. Interactive Strength shares are trading higher after the company issued shareholder update and reiterated 50 million plus in pro forma guidance. That's popping the stock here. We are all the way back to where we were on last Friday. $1.37. This stock, not great performance here. Don't trust this one. This would be a technicals only move. The recent short float update is eye-popping. 75.17% with 1 day to cover. Yikes. Float here, 1.5 million shares in the float. And let me see. We did have, no recent reverse splits. Last one was from November 11th of 2024. So TRNR, you got anything on this one, 13?
I mean, that short interest seems kind of personal.
Personal.
So I mean, maybe that's where we're taking a stab at it. I'm not suggesting anybody do that, but sure. This could squeeze pretty well. I mean, we already got some of that, and it's kind of holding up here. Now we did move over VWAP, and then we've since come underneath it, and we're trading sideways. So this would probably be one that I'd wait to see what happens at the open. I want to see a recapture of that VWAP before I'm going to start trading this. Otherwise, I think it could end up losing the support it's been getting in the pre-market at about 121. And if that happens, then we're going to be looking at some of these EMAs down beneath it to catch it. So we're about to get a test at that same level again. Those EMAs are going to be at 117 and 115. Okay.
All right, good stuff there. We do have a couple here. I'm going to skip ahead because C-Spot is having conniptions in the chat here. SCNX, Scienture Holdings, this popped yesterday and was just a complete and total disaster for the rest of the day. The breakaway from VWAP was incredible, and this thing just pounded the lows and closed on the lows. It popped here and already came all the way back in. Be careful. Scienture Holding shares are trading higher after the company announced that it completed an equity draw of its line of credit.
Okay.
You can cover this if you want. This to me is a no touch.
You guys, breaking news. It ran its business.
Bye.
I'll say this.
Of course, I'm kidding. 2.9 million shares in the float. Yep.
I'll say this. The pre-market yesterday, before it had the pop up to 340, created a bit of a supply zone once we traded beneath it. So now this supply zone here that goes from about 190 to 220. That's going to be an area of resistance. You've already seen it kick in once here with this initial pop that it got this morning. Went right to that the middle of that area, that consolidation, got rejected, came back in. If it comes back up there again, that's going to be the area I'll be looking at for this to reject again. seems like 215 is about the strongest area, but that whole consolidation in there, I wouldn't want to be holding it into that if it does run up.
Yeah, so it ran its business. Anne-Marie here saying it borrowed. Yeah,
It did.
Borrowed to ran its business.
Yeah, it ran its business. It withdrew money from its equity line of credit. Holy cow. What are these geniuses doing here?
Let's PR that.
Yeah.
Let's press release that. Let's shout that from the mountaintop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being surly here. It's one day till the NCAA tournament. That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. Okay. A couple other stocks that are moving here in the pre-market. Altarian, this is ticker ATER. Altarian shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. It popped in the after hours yesterday. Investors are digesting the report today. Stock has retraced 80% of its move. We'll see. It's still up 12% here, 3.5% of the float shorted. Days to cover on this one, 5.63. So maybe this has some squeezing action, although I'd be skeptical about that. The stock normally is dead, trades 86,000 shares. Today we've traded over 500,000. Whoop-de-doo. We'll see what happens when this opens up. Float 6.8 million. You got anything here? ATER.
Just another R-ball move, and we didn't get a whole lot out of it this time around.
Yep.
So that's about all I have with this. Is it going back to $3? I don't know. I have my doubts that it will. It is getting support from let's see, this is about 230. So if you kind of look to the left here before this big move it had in the after hours, you can see that the price was trying to get up over that level, that 230 level, and it faced quite a few rejections in the pre-market and after hours, start going all the way back to March 6th. So that seems to be an interesting area of support at this stage. It might turn back up, and until this thing gets closer to VWAP and recaptures it, it's not something I'm really wanting to take a risk on.
Okay. Good stuff there. RR, next on the list here, Rich Tech Robotics. Emily, I think you were asking about this one too. This had a recent move here on Monday, March 17th, that had a nice little move up. We retraced some of that move here. If we take a look, the volume really seems to be elevated multiple days in a row here. Like recently, feel like the volume is elevating on this move back up. The top end of that move, 230. We'll see if this can actually make its move back up there. Since about the middle of March on this run, we've consistently made higher lows on this. So this actually looking pretty good here. We'll see if this can pop above. What do we have here? 212. I know 215 is your actual pre-market high. We'll see if we can get above that and make a run towards some of those other higher levels there. 18.38% of the float shorted here. 1.4 days to cover. Float of 73 million, a little bit thicker, but this actually does have some coverage. What do you think about this one here? Ticker RR, Rich Tech Robotics.
Well, the movement's really interesting because you did have this selling off, going right down to its 200-day SMA, and then it rebounded off of that on a PR headline. Let me just pull this up here. It was they were showcasing their AI-driven service automation at Pro1 2025, and then the very next day you had the president of the company taking a stake, or I'm sorry, he sold it. So interesting that we started to get some more movement up, but that rebound off the 200-day SMA, I think, is the big takeaway from this. Now we're trying to recapture what looks to be the 215 area. Well, a couple of times it's been up there, got rejected on after Monday. We closed above that on Monday, and then we started trading beneath it since then. So I think it's trying to find some support down around, looks to be about 185, so it can go back up and try and take out the 50-day SMA. It just seems to be like this is on recovery. I don't know exactly what came out of that expo, but seems to have really turned this thing around.
Okay, good stuff there. All right, I think that was probably it. KC, I know, is on here. We've traded this one before. Kingsoft Cloud shares trading higher if the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. I don't know if you've covered this one. I know we've kind of traded this one off movers before. This actually does seem to be more real than some of these other crappier ones here. Also, some decent short interest on this. Just about 11% of the float shorted and just shy of 3 days to cover here. Big float, though, 109 million here on ticker KC. So it looks like a beat on the top and the bottom line. Stock is responding positively to that, up 7.5% here. Did you cover this one? Do you have anything that you want to go over on KC? We can move on if you don't.
No, I didn't. This one trying to just hold above its 20-day SMA on the daily chart. I don't know much about this one at all, though. But there was one thing that did stand out a second ago. Well, I think that you've already mentioned it, the float, and it's also independent cloud service provider in China. Still not profitable, it seems, but getting closer.
Okay. Good stuff there on KC. All right. Is there any specific stock that you want to take a look at? And we can do ticker time here. We already did TTD from ticker time. Hans, want to take a look at Crowd, maybe Hood. We could do that. Sydney, astronauts wanted to land at the Melbourne beach so they would not miss the beach bum. That makes a lot of sense to me. I saw that they were greeted by a pod of dolphins when they splashed down. That's pretty sweet. I tell you what, if I was coming back from space after 9 extra months, I'd be extremely happy to see dolphins in the water that I landed at. That'd be awesome. Anyway, I like that. They didn't want to miss the beach bum. Nobody wants to miss the beach bum. We love the beach bum. All right. In all seriousness, 13, any stocks that you want to take a look at?
Oh, no, it's whatever the chat and you want to talk about.
Let me go back here. I think Hans, the first one. Oh, you know what? Before we do Hood there, Shamir, you had asked about Rigetti, obviously those quantum names. Those are starting to kick back up here, and we're getting some movement on that. Rigetti here, the last move up, the break of the trend line that you had me put on here, 13, pretty much just went right to the 50 and stopped there. Now, we really haven't broken down, so maybe this gets the juice to move above. We're pretty much right at that volume point of control that really encompasses the move up and the move down here. Stock's up just about 3% in the pre-market. Didn't see any news on this. Nope. All of this stuff is from yesterday. Let's see where the short interest is at. 23% of the float shorted, but still only 1 day to cover. So it looks like that is elevating here. And obviously float's pretty huge on Rigetti. Do you have any thoughts on any of the quantum names? Rigetti, QBTS, any of those?
Yeah, my only real thought is that this is all, based on the movement of or the quantum data that's coming up tomorrow. I think we're just seeing a run up into that. I don't necessarily know what's going to happen at that event. It could lead to these breaking out. It could lead to these selling off. I don't want to make any predictions because I'm not exactly sure what's going to be said out of there. So when I look at the chart for Rigetti, though, it looks like it is trying to get back above its 50-day SMA. We did have a nice breakout from that trend line that I had you draw, so that's good. It looks like we could still back test 950 and the 20-day SMA before we make that move through the 50-day SMA. That's a possibility, but I think this is really trying to get through that 50. So it wouldn't surprise me if we got some better movement today that ends up taking us through sometime, maybe today or sometime this week.
Okay. And I definitely want to see a move through that and possibly a close above that. We'll see what the quantum day brings here tomorrow. We shall see. Okay. A couple of other stocks that were on the list there. Hans wanted to take a look at Hood. Take a look at Hood here. Obviously, this really trying to be the everything investing place, right? Crypto, stocks, sports betting. They're trying to do the whole thing here. It's basically what's been going on with Hood recently. Now, we've really come down from some of these highs, but looking at some of these moving averages here, the move down feels pretty orderly. I know it happened pretty quickly, but it does seem rather orderly. We kind of overshot the 100, and it looks like we're trying to recapture that. So the first level that really just kind of jumps off the page for me is going to be that 100-day moving average at 41.55. We'll see if we can close above that and then maybe go to 44.54, which is your 20-day moving average. I think we're a ways away from that 50, and I think we need to do some work before we can actually get up and test that 50. That's up there at 48.25. Downside level here, the recent low is what I would trade this against. That's 35.5. You do have the 200-day sitting a couple of points beneath that 31.75. So what do you think here on Hood, 13?
I think that to me, it looks like it's trying to get back up to the 20-day SMA at least, and that $44 level appears to be a pretty, significant resistance area. It was resistance last year going into this year, and then we broke out in January above this $44 level, and we've been on a bit of a run, and now it's over, and we've fallen beneath that $44 level. We're trying to back test it or trying to recapture it. I'd be concerned about that not happening, about it rejecting and going even lower to meet the 200-day SMA. So the $44 level to me, that's the one that we need to get back over. So that's what I would mark off.
Okay.
$44.
Good stuff on Hood. Let me see what else was next here. Anne-Marie, so I missed this earlier. Sorry about that. Noisy trading today with big wicks throughout the day, likely, indeed. And I think, I think most of the action here is going to happen in the afternoon. Let's see, what else did we have here? NEO, we can take a look at NEO. VRT. Now, VRT, that was on some of the news from let's actually start with VRT here. I had mentioned this earlier when we talked about the NVIDIA conference. Gene Munster had the new generation, the Rubin generation of NVIDIA chips is going to require more power, and that should be a net positive for VRT. We've actually had some other news regarding power requirements for all of this, for all the whole AI craze here. Again, one of the other stocks to kind of watch, Constellation Energy. This had a huge move down from some of the highs. Anyway, with VRT here, the thought here is that this should be pretty good. This should be bolstered by AI in the future. Looking at the chart here, I would definitely want this to come in and really kind of hold the 500-day. If it was able to do that, that's at about 68.25 here. Does look like we're kind of unable to take out any of these moving averages, right? We break beneath the 200, we retest it, rejected. Retest the 20, rejected. So to me, let's just get down here. Let's find some support down here at 68.25, and then maybe this can turn around. Do you have anything on VRT? Is this one that you try? I can't remember if this is one of the energy stocks that you like.
I don't really think I've covered this one at all, but
yeah.
The chart to me looks like, well, it's been riding down the 20-day SMA, so that's one thing that stands out here. Ever since we lost it back at the end of January, trying to recapture it twice now, both rejected both times, losing the 200-day in the process. It still looks like it could go lower, maybe down to about 73 and change, about there. There's a death cross potentially coming up with this as well. So unless it recaptures the 200-day SMA in a matter of days, I think this is going to have that death cross, and we're probably going to get some more downside before we start turning around.
Okay, good stuff there. Look, speaking of death cross, I talked a little bit about NVIDIA. We took a look at the chart earlier here, but you've got the death cross happening today on NVIDIA. So we've talked about death cross here before. Shout out to you. You've been warning us about this impending death cross for a number of days here. What is your plan here today on NVIDIA with this happening? And then also on the back of the Fed, top of that.
Well, I was saying yesterday in happy hour, the price action we got, DTX is really ripping right now. The price action we've been getting. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by ADTX. I'm not really interested in NVIDIA right now. I still think it can come in. I had a thought that I was going to elaborate on, but I really.
But ADTX broke yesterday's intraday highs, and that thought just flew away. That's how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So NVIDIA, I still would want this to come in some more. I feel like it's going to continue to weaken, but I'm not going to be taking any long positions on this quite yet. I think we still need to test 100, maybe even lower.
Yeah. To me, I really think that 100 test, I think we're going to probably get that, and eventually we're going to break that. Will this thing go all the way down to 83 and find some support there? I don't know. What's the true multiple that NVIDIA should have? When we figure that out, we can make some better targets on some of the price there.
We'll see what Jensen does tomorrow.
We'll see what Quantum Day brings.
It didn't seem like that that whatever his presentation was yesterday really did a whole lot for the stock.
Nope. Didn't do much for the stock. Didn't do much for GM, which was the announced partnership. Really felt like kind of a nothing burger from that, honestly.
Yeah.
So, okay. C-Spot, IONQ. That's another one of those quantum names, isn't it?
Yeah.
IONQ here. The recent move here was a bounce off of that 200-day, but just like Rigetti, cannot get above the 20-day. This for sure one of the areas that this really needs to get over to really kind of get going here. And look, let's see. I guess we'll just say the same thing that we said with Rigetti. Let's see what happens with Quantum Day. I don't really think that there's. I don't know that there's really anything else to watch here. I would imagine that all of these are going to be in play, and depending on what gets said there, you should be able to play it in that direction. Maybe one of these gets mentioned. I don't know about that. I have no insight on that though.
Yeah, I mean, it still looks
C-Spot,
like
what are you doing? Sorry, C-Spot, what are you doing with IONQ? Long, short? What are you looking for here? Sorry, 13, get in there.
Yeah, it just looks like this could still trend lower and lose the 200-day SMA again. And that's we're going to find out if that happens tomorrow. That's like you said. I think all these quantum name movement is all predicated on what comes out of that Quantum Day.
Okay. Pete says, yes, let's put a 10 PE on the fastest growing tech company in the U.S. Please, what do you think the PE should be? What do you think the PE, what do you think a reasonable PE for NVIDIA is? And I guess the second question I have there is, do you even think that matters? C-Spot, I'm out of IONQ. Okay. Are you looking for a trade here? Wonder if this has actually been one of the better traders, I feel like.
Good morning, Neville.
Good morning, Neville. I don't know who Brian is, but good morning nonetheless. Okay. I have to. Okay, Jay, good morning, Jay. It's great to see you here. Hope all is well in Arizona down there for you. Really missed Arizona this spring, I'll be honest. Mentioning that Boeing is ripping here on news. Let's take a look and see. We did have a nice little pop here from Boeing. Tell you what, the last time we traded Boeing actually did pretty well on it. Looks like we're
yeah, CFO is speaking at the Bank of America Global Industrials Conference. That's going to be he's going to be speaking at 9:05 Eastern, which is already happening. So he's doing it now.
Okay, so I wonder if we're going to get any more out of that. Brian West now speaking. Do we? Japan Airlines adds 17 single aisle planes to its Boeing order. Okay, let's getting another order there. What do we think here on Boeing? Do you think and the last time that we traded this, we were really hoping that we could get above the 500 and then maybe test 200. That never materialized. We ended up coming back down to this trend line. Let me see where that was from the COVID low.
We're pretty much at the trend line, like kind of knocking on its door right now. It was up there, let's see, what was it just about 5 minutes ago? Because I think we may have ended up trading over it briefly. We got as high as to 175.07. That took us over the 200-day SMA. It actually took us over the 50-day SMA 50 as well. Too, yeah. And then we just came right back in. So sellers strong in the pre-market, it seems. I would be wanting to see this get back over 168.12. That's what I'd like to see. I don't know if it'll happen, but this is news isn't too bad. It must be saying something nice out of at that conference. Yeah,
I mean, another order. I think that's definitely a positive here. Boeing, RSI, Williams percent are kind of in no man's land here. I'm with you. That 200-day. Let's see if we can get a close above that 200-day. For another trade idea here, what I would like to see is maybe a couple of days above that 200-day, maybe even a back test in there, like we saw right here. So let me actually zoom in on this because I'd kind of be looking for a repeat of this. Here we go. We went right to the 200-day. We punched above it. We ended up back testing it, recapturing, and then we actually got a nice little trade in here. I wonder if we could get something similar.
I think it'd probably serve us well just to see what this starts to do out of the open, because it's not holding this move that it got off the headline. I don't want to see it start to lose 165 and come right back down to where it was before. So let's see what this regular session gives us, and maybe we can hold some levels. And if it does, hold above the 20, that's great. If it goes up, it holds above the 200, that's even better. So I kind of want to just wait and see what the regular session is going to give us. I don't want to make any predictions.
Okay. All right, good stuff there, Boeing. Let's see what else. How much time do we have? 6 minutes. We got time for some more. I see BBAI on here. Take a look at that. Did I miss anything?
PBAI is still moving around.
RCAT was suggested. SIG, which had earnings here this morning. Signet Jewelers, they own the K jewelry store here. Signet Jewelers trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and adjusted EPS and sales. Stock looks like it's trying to get above that $58 level. I can't remember what the daily looks like here. All right, so this would be a real good move here today if we can close above that 50. And if we can close above that 50, the next spot that I have here, 62.5, and that is in a gap up to about 74. So that's what I'd be looking for here on the back of this earnings. Really nice print here. This was pretty oversold. So let's see where we close here on Signet. That might help us determine if we can go further here. Did they mention anything about lab-grown diamonds or anything like that? I
don't know. I was more wondering. I was kind of curious to see if they mentioned anything about the rising price of precious metals, because that seems to be the growing cost right now.
Yeah, I'm just and forgive me because I was actually in this industry prior to working here. I'm very interested in what they have to say about lab grown diamonds, just because I see all of that. I see a lot of the ads kind of promoting lab grown diamonds, and working in the diamond pricing industry, they are worthless, frankly. I guess I shouldn't say worthless, but it's hard to put a value on them because they're man-made and they just continue to sink. And it's just really, really hard to price them. I'm just wondering what they were saying, if they had said anything on that. But
you're comparing a product to a resource, and I think that's the largest takeaway for me.
That's in all the years I've never heard anyone in the industry say that. That's a shout out to you, 13. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, I'll go through that a little bit more. Maybe I'll have AI help me out with that. Anyway, this is a plus 18.5% move. And like I said, this would be pretty good if this can hold above the 50. Maybe we can actually turn some of this around and move towards a gap fill trade to the upside. Signet.
And, I think it was Line Alice was saying that we might have a flat day. I mostly agree with that. I think that we could see the like similar to yesterday, the real move of the day just kind of come out at the open. And then we just, try to bounce around and consolidate for the rest of the day, just like we did yesterday, until we get that FOMC rate decision. I think we're going to see a lot of just chopping around, but mostly just kind of flat until that rate decision comes. I think that's what could be happening.
Okay, awesome. Anne Marie saying natural diamonds are in trouble. De Beers had their sales taken off the table. So for all of you that have natural diamonds, that should be pretty good for the resale price of those natural diamonds. Nice. I'll actually, you know what? I'm going to have dinner with one of my former coworkers who still works in the industry. I'll ask about that. I'll see if I can give you an update on the diamond and gemstone market after I meet with someone. I don't stay on top of the newsletters like I used to, so I would rather check with an expert before I make any type of prediction. But I'll do that for you. Okay. How much time do we have? Less than 2 minutes here. I did really quickly want to check on BBAI. Let's see what that's doing. The only reason is because this is a pretty popular stock amongst our group. We did retake 3. We're still holding above the 200-day. We'll see if we can get above that. I don't know. Did we have any news on this? No news on this.
It's at a pretty strong resistance area here. We have the $3 level that I marked off, but also 305, which is the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. So that those two levels, trying to provide resistance, we're above one of them and beneath the other. But whichever way we break, whether we break over 305, I think that we probably see more upside. We break beneath 3, we'll probably end up coming back to more to VWAP.
Okay, we'll see what we do there on BBAI. Also, KBSX. This was probably the big mover of yesterday. The stock, look at this, huge pop right back to that. This stock was like 309% yesterday. It's down 34% here in the pre-market. We're on the backside of this move. Maybe put this on the back burner. Maybe it kicks up a little bit, but I'd be very careful about this. Seems like the run mostly was yesterday. Okay, Anne-Marie, people are only interested in how things look. It's the culture and why the lab-grown industry is growing in appeal. Indeed, they're going to be in for a shock if they ever go to have that appraised, or if they continually have it appraised, or God forbid they go to have it, or they go to try to resell it.
They're also not greener than natural diamonds. It takes a significant amount of energy to produce those. By the way, LSE, this one that had the triple top with that trend line. Really losing altitude here going into the open.
Which one? LSC?
LSE, yeah. We're about to open here.
Excuse me.
Yeah. We're about to open, and it went right down to the 200 EMA. Watch for a potential bounce, but I still think this ends up going lower.
There you go. Good stuff. We are open. Here we go. We did, I think, have some results there. Producer. Right. Poll results. So SPY post FOMC announcement, 40% of you said we're going to be flat. 38% of you said down we go, and 20% of you said to the moon.
LSC trying to bounce off that 200 EMA, not having the greatest volume, and this thing is kind of spready, so be very careful with this if you're going to trade it. BDTX, that had a pop out of the gate, still above VWAP, but coming back in. BRDX, the bad one. This is
amazing that you can even remember that.
Well, man, just look at the chart. It's not hard to you can just see it. This one trying to find a bottom here. Maybe this tries to turn around. It's not doing much right now, but it's between the 200 and 65 EMAs on the 5-minute. So we'll see which direction that chooses. ADTX, this popped up to 1020 in the pre-market. Now it's starting to give it back, but getting support from VWAP. We'll see if that can hold. TRNR, this one.
Real quickly on ADTX, this is yesterday's intraday high, giving it resistance. We definitely want to see it move above that. Which was the next one you had?
We could cup and handle with ADTX. So watch for like a 30%. Let's hold on a second here. Let's see where this. Okay, so if this comes back to 9 and recaptures VWAP, we could see a breakout over 1020. Okay. So watch for if this starts losing VWAP and goes down to 9 and finds support, there could be a trade higher, a trade up to 1020. So we'll see if we end up getting that. And then let's see, we were also looking at TRNR. This one holding into the open here, kind of moving sideways. We have the 65 EMA at 118 right beneath it, but we are trying to curl and go back up towards VWAP, which I have at 127, 128. Looks like it's starting to get a little bit of volume here.
ATAR, while you were talking there, popping hard on volume above the VWAP here. We'll see if it can hold above the VWAP and set up. Boeing, on the back of that news, first move here is higher. So as you were saying, we did have a huge impulse move up to 175. We retraced like 80% of that stick, but it does appear that we're trying to move higher here on Boeing. Got to imagine that that option chain is probably busy here early on.
Through VWAP right now. VWAP is at 167.55. We'll see if that holds.
39% implied volatility on that option chain. That actually might not be bad. BDTX, okay.
Yeah, the good one. That just
over the pre-market highs, popping and going higher here. Okay.
Yeah, got support from VWAP after it traded beneath it a little bit. Looks like 225 provided some of the support. Now it's pushing up to 270. That's the high now, and looks like it might be coming back in or setting up to make its next move.
Tapas here saying, I don't know why it should matter lab-made versus natural. If we had fuel that was lab-made versus natural, nobody would care. Yeah, fuel and diamonds, not the same thing. Diamond's a precious stone. There's really nothing special about a lab-made diamond. There is something special about a naturally made diamond. We'll see how that all shakes out. Like I said, I will try and get an update on that industry for you. I didn't realize people cared. Otherwise, I would get it more often.
Yeah, ATER coming right up to that consolidation from the after hours yesterday. Needs to break through this, and so we can go higher. But see, that's resistance for the moment. That consolidation between 280 and 290.
Spot on. Spot on that. By the way, KBSX, this is the one from yesterday. This is also trying to pop. VWAP right at 4. We'll see if we can get above that. I'd want this to prove it first, but worth mentioning here. KC, another one that we talked about here. Look out below. We fell right out of the open on that one. QUBT, this is going to be one of your quantum names. This has recaptured the VWAP on some pretty good volume. See if this can go for yesterday's intraday high. That has me wanting to check on some of the other quantum names like Rigetti and IONQ. All of those seem to be doing the same thing here out of the open. Popping a little bit.
LSE did get a pop all the way up to the 65 EMA, and then it came right back in. So there was a very quick trade there. But like I said, just be careful with this one. I don't like the fact that it triple topped already. BRDX, that one, the bad one, that had a pop up to near its, the 65 EMA, came back in, still getting support from the 200. We'll see if this can hold. It's got more support a little bit beneath it around 215. From consolidation, going back to yesterday's pre-market and after hours.
Okay.
TRNR, that's broke through VWAP. This could get going here. Let's see, BBAI, that popped up to its 200 EMA and then came right back in. That was one of the levels to watch for.
Seeing a lot of NVIDIA calls getting bought here so far, not really impacting the stock. We continue to move lower. Apple moving higher. Palo Alto moving higher.
Boeing is holding above its VWAP. This could still move higher, maybe into the 170s if it continues to hold VWAP.
Yeah, that 170 call, 91% gain on that here, right out of the open.
Is he saying Fubo is going? And
Fubo, F-U-B-O. Sorry, I was looking at some other charts there.
And Lion is saying he's short ADTX. That had a nice drop out of the gate here. It's looking like it's just getting, setting up over the next maybe 10, 15 minutes to make the next move. Next move could be down.
Tiger, this was up yesterday. Grats to, I think it was Charles? I think you were banking off this one. If I got that right, you deserve a register ring nonetheless. Tiger, this had a pretty good move after earnings yesterday. Impulse move and then another move higher. It looks like we're getting some continuation here on Tiger, TIGR. Signet popping here right out of the open. See if that can recapture 60 there on Signet. ATAR above that consolidation area. So how about this? We actually popped above 3 here now, above the after hours high from yesterday on ATER.
Looks like the initial move for the SPY is, slightly higher, and then it came back in. It popped up to, looks like 563 and 24 cents.
Plug Power popping a little bit here.
QBTS also popped up to 11.16 and it's coming back in.
BDTX pulling off of that high that it recently set. LSE bounced off that 200 EMA on the 5. See if that can recapture VWAP there at 1408.
Yeah, BDTX needs to hold I'd say 255, and if it does, or at least is able to lose and then recapture it, the candle's closing above it. This could set up to go higher, but we need to see closes above 255.
Okay. Our Rich Tech Robotics going for that 230 high from the after hours yesterday. QMCO, another quantum name appearing on the scanner here. This one pulling bad. I wonder if the rest of them are doing the same thing. Yep, a lot of those quantum names pulling back here. QBTS calls getting bought. That one's also pulling back here.
ATER, that one putting in new highs, 310 now. Let's see here. TRNR, this one also moving up nicely, looking for 139. That's the pre-market high.
And then Meta, look at
So big wall of, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just trying to measure meta here. We had that 20-day in a row up move. And now we are down almost 21% after that record-breaking run that Meta made. Gave it all back. Let's see what happens here. We were talking about Meta earlier. Kathy sold this, right? So waiting for this to come back into the 200. We'll see what happens here at the 200. We're real close to this. We're only less than 8 points away. No, less than 9 points away, excuse me.
SCNX, this one popped in the just before the market opened, and it sold most of it. Now it's trying to push back up to 2.
SCNX above its VWAP here. Nice job, Pretty Panda. ATAR, looks like you hit that and you're done already. That's a quick day for you. Good stuff.
Nice job.
Boeing continuing as it takes out that 170. Where's Staff Sergeant Ryan at? Got to be pretty happy today.
Yeah, ATER, that's still trying to push up and make new highs, looking to take out 318.
Plug trying to get going here. SCNX, this actually might break 2 here.
It's coming in a little bit, but it certainly wants to try and challenge that level.
I'll tell you what, yesterday's action was awful. I wonder if we get a change in sentiment here. It's better here today. See if this can get above 2.
LSE is still trying to get back to VWAP. This is the one that dropped out of the open. If it can't get back above the 65 EMA and VWAP with this current candle, I think it could end up turning around to the downside again.
I'm seeing some App Lovin calls getting bought. App Lovin here on the lows. Nvidia turned around. Sorry.
No worries. BDTX, the good one, that's still kind of holding above VWAP. See if we can get a move up to 3.
Let's see. Yeah, I want to see if BDTX can actually hold this VWAP here, 244, 245.
Speaking of holding VWAP, Boeing is doing a great job of that. This may actually just go right back up to 175.
Calls out of the open there on Boeing worked pretty well. Let's see. Smoke Tuna, good morning. Great to see you. SCNX. I tell you what, this might be if this can get above 2, this might be interesting. Remember, this is kind of the PR here that we kind of laughed about earlier, that they used their line of credit.
Yeah.
Charts forming up there. I mean, we'll see. See what else. What else are you guys taking a look at? XHLD, a penny stock, looking to test 1. LSE looks like all trades happen in the pre-market.
All right. See what BDTX is going to give us here. It's trying to move up a little bit, but needs more volume.
See if it holds that VWAP. That's one of the things I'd be interested in here.
So far, it has held up above it since it broke through it. That last 5-minute candle did a pretty good job. We're starting to move up here now as well.
S&P futures have turned around here. They're moving towards the lows, but still holding higher here. SPY, I guess I should say, holding higher here by 0.15%. Market breadth, all green across the board, at least for right now. We'll see if that changes.
Yeah, it's a nice SQQQ move here. It could take us up to, let's see, for the SQQQ, could be going up to 3780.
Tell you what, the SQQQ, TQQQ, yesterday, one of the first days that it really didn't work all that well. We had the big move down. We did have the move back to the VWAP, but it was a little bit delayed, and then it just kind of pinned there. It really didn't give us any more opportunities. Still watching it, but if it doesn't give it to you, it doesn't give it to you.
TRNR, that one's working out pretty well. New highs.
That one does give it to you, you're saying?
That's yeah, like X.
That's good stuff. TRNR, actually, volume here looks good. Watch for this to break and go higher. This actually doesn't look terrible.
Quantum names tanking. Rigetti, big knife. QBTS, big knife. sure the other ones are probably looking the same.
So let me go back to the bigger chart there, because which moving average was it that these things all couldn't get over?
Oh, the whole market's pulling? Okay, well, that's, let's see, where is that? Here we are.
Yeah, market is definitely pulling. It's holding on to green, or it's trying to, at least so far. Rigetti here, this one was rejected at the 50. We'll take a look at IONQ. This was at the 20, and then I think QUBT, was that also the 20? 50. So it's either the 20 or the 50.
Good morning, Rustin.
Good morning, Rustam. BTAI getting mentioned. That is also on the scanner here. BTAI, big volume pop. Do we have news on this one? Yeah. Initiated with a buy at Rodman and Renshaw. $65 price target. Firm sees blockbuster potential.
Looks like SCNX is
Wow.
trying to make a break over 2.
This is what we were waiting for.
Yep, there
There
we go.
it is.
Let's see how much we get out of this. I'm going to go to new highs. The
Volume
pre-market
looks
high
good
was,
here on this one for sure.
Yeah, pre-market high was 208. We'll see what, yeah, they just brought in some sellers.
Yep, let's see if it can recapture 2 here.
We'll take a look at RCAT as well.
I'm going to get SCNX up on one of the other charts here. We'll see if this can get back above 2. That might send it.
RCAT still hanging
Let me bring that up.
with its 200-day SMA. It got a rejection off the 20. So, it's really just got to hold that's 200, but I don't think it will. I mean, the way this chart looks, this head and shoulders chart, would imply that there's still more downside to come. I think this goes under 4.
Okay, SCNX recaptured 2. It's just still flirting with that level. Needs to build above, but it did recapture it there temporarily.
Yep. We really just need to take out that 208.
Yeah.
There's a big seller at 220. So we take out 208, we might run right up to that.
Okay.
Area.
Okay.
I just brought in some more.
Yeah, they're refresh selling that 2 spot. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Exactly it. All right, let's see if this is the push here. See if this is the push that we need. Sorry, I have the wrong stock on this. I'm trying to watch the wrong chart here again. SCNX.
Starting to move, looking for that 208.
I want to see that 208 bust here. Trigger there, entry trigger there for was 2, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Market is trying to trade up now here. Boy, we're getting a little bit of a chop before Powell here. How about that? Let me run through some of these other ones while we're waiting on SCNX to get rolling here. Anne-Marie saying, when we see advancers to decliners are positive by 500 or more, and we see a dip in the futures on SPY, we can buy the dip. There you go. Anne-Marie, that's awesome. That is, I'm going to copy that down. I'm going to remember that, Anne-Marie. Really good tip there. All right. LSC.
We're at 2. I mean, let's see. SCNX. I just had that on here. Where'd that go? There it is. Where does it go? Well, first, if it breaks a 208, hold on a second, I'll tell you. It looks like, well, we have the seller at 220, so that's going to be one spot. But I also like 230. That was a support area when we first opened and sold off. The price kind of hung out there and found support at 230 before it ultimately lost it just before into the lunch hour. So that would be the next level that I have. You can also look at 260 and then 3 and 315. Those are all levels of resistance that I see in SCNX.
That first one is 208, though. That's still the one that we're kind of waiting on here.
Yeah.
And I know we've just kind of pulled off that 2 spot, but again, no breakdown here. We'll see if I get a breakdown and shake out some of the folks.
BDRX is trying to turn around here. This is the bad one. VWAP is at 278. It's trying to make its way to VWAP at the very least.
That was a pretty good bounce off that 200 EMA.
Yeah, ATER just put in a new high, slightly new high at 324. That's still trading above VWAP. Boeing still moving up toward 175.
SRPT. What did this fall on yesterday? Patient death following one of its treatments. Wow. SRPT.
That's not good.
Yeah. Cantor reiterated their overweight, maintained their 163 price target. This is up by 6% here today, SRPT. This is not one that I follow. Does anyone trade or follow this one? That seems really bad. Stock fell from 100 to 70 and change. What, 75? What was this? 75.
Looks like some of these movers are trying to curl up. ADTX. Lion, did you close your short? Because this thing looks like it's trying to turn around. It went down to pretty much the middle of the consolidation in the after hours and the 65 EMA. That's at about $8. So it bounced right off of that area, and now we're starting to trade back up towards VWAP that I have at 906. It wouldn't surprise me if we popped up to VWAP and then we reversed and went lower. I can see that happening with the way that we're trading this, or this it's moving.
Parker's asking, is Anne-Marie referring to $ADD or $ADSPD? Anne-Marie, you'll have to answer that.
C-Spot mentioning BDTX. This is the good one, but it's not looking great. This knifed right through the VWAP, came down to some of the support it was getting at the after hours. Or I'm sorry, the pre-market at what is this level here? 225. Losing that now as well, headed towards the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. That's going to be at 213.
QMCO, one of the quantum names that started to bounce after that nasty pull. BTAI, this now that the pull is happening here, and this actually might get rolling. See if that can get back through the VWAP there, 276. I'm skeptical of the price target that they gave, but nonetheless. ATAR, this is still pushing for some new highs. That's been a really good move above 3.
So BDTX is starting to look like the bad one. BDRX had a nice move a moment ago and was looking pretty good there for a second, but now it's lost the 65 EMA again on the 5-minute. So sideways it goes for the moment. TRNR new highs. This the nice break over that pre-market high. This one, so not really on the move now. Let's see where this goes.
I'm going to try and add these advancers to decliners. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Let me add this real quick. ADVN, $ADVN, minus $DECN.
Coming up to a resistance area here with TRNR. This one going back to the March 11th. So this is some areas of support that are turned to resistance. It looks like the 140, 145 area is one such area that has that support turned resistance. So it was support, on the 11th and 12th, and then on the 13th, it lost that support and it's been underneath it ever since. Okay, yeah, BDTX really coming in here. It looks like it's going to have a date with that 65 EMA at 213. Looks like some of these quantum names may have found some bottoms here. QBTS in particular, that found us some support from the lows from the after hours yesterday. TRNR popped up to 148, and it's really starting to come back in now.
SCNX, that is starting to come back in. Izzy saying it's garbage, yelling at us again, Izzy. Right at the VWAP, by the way, 189 there, SCNX. QMCO resuming its bounce. Boeing continuing to push higher here. I tell you what, the call buy on that dip was pretty good. CRGX, this looks like this is trying to go lower here. That's the 90% workforce reduction.
Being asked
Agspire.
by Masroor if I see any strength in XHLD. 10 holdings. Let's take a look here. What does this do? Virtual and hybrid and physical events. So this is what it's in the media. So this kind of this holds different events, I guess. 1 million stock repurchase program. What's their cash look like? Not really, not profitable. Doesn't have a lot of cash in the bank. I guess I'm wondering where this this money for the repurchase program is going to come from. I don't like the way the balance sheet looks, so I'm not sure that I would really think that this is very strong. I don't know where the money's coming from. This is a where does this operate? Hold on a second. I'll give you
all good, man. Market is pushing here. SPY, Dow, NASDAQ, all at the highs here. Big move on volume as well. S&P futures also pushing the highs. So it looks like this is still going. Trade desk here, which we took a look at earlier. This is trading up. CrowdStrike getting mentioned here. That's trading up. Apple looks like we're getting a pretty huge bounce here. Bitcoin at the highs, 84K. MBIS, Palo Alto, a lot of tech names here. VIX getting melted again. 21 now on your VIX. And Tesla actually reversed that move earlier. So Tesla was higher here earlier. Looks like it's turning around here. Still think we probably have a date with 200 at some point.
Yeah. So, with regard to 10 holdings, XHLD, this is pretty new. Just IPO literally last month. It's having its best volume day today. It's probably just because it's a low RSI. It's been lowest RSI for most of March. But as far as real strength goes, I don't have enough information on it to know where this is going, or it doesn't even seem like they have enough cash to do the things they want to do. And a 1 million share repurchase after IPOing, Brian, have you heard of something like that?
Sorry, I was reading the chat. Repeat your question.
Have you heard of a company making or announcing that they're going to have a share repurchase program about a month after IPOing?
No.
So I have a lot of concerns with this one, Masroor. I think it would, if you're concerned about where this is headed, it might do you some good to read into some of the SEC filings, get an idea of where they stand financially and what they've got in the pipeline or what they've got going on. Because based on what I have here, I don't see enough without doing some more of that due diligence. So for me, this doesn't look that great. I don't know where this goes, but I think a red flag for me is announcing they're going to repurchase shares after they just IPO'd.
Yeah, last Friday, we had a director buying 10,000 shares at 49 cents of this penny stock, and it's up to 75 cents here.
Yeah, he almost 2x'd.
Yeah. SCNX, that's curling back towards the highs. LSE looks like this is trying to take VWAP out. It's right there at VWAP. Boy, the bounce off the 200 EMA on the 5, that was really good here on LSE.
Yeah, this one, yeah, exactly. And this one looks like it's trying to get up to 15 at this stage. There's some consolidation between, I guess we'll say it's between $14.15 and then $15 even. There seems to be some consolidation I might have a hard time with. But if it gets through that trend line that I had you draw earlier, that's where I would think that ends up going. At this stage, it seems that would be about a little bit more than $17 that this could get up to if it wants to test that trend line.
Here we go, LSE. This is now breaking above its VWAP. ATAR still new highs. Boy, what a move out of the gate that was. More new highs now. ATER.
Yeah, just one thing to understand with LSE is that it has a pretty good spread to it. We're looking at 20-cent, 15-cent spreads.
Yeah.
So just be very careful if you're going to try and trade this.
And I generally stay away from those. That just messes with my day trading. QUBT, it looks like all of the quantum stocks are still pulling here.
Yep.
All of them across the board.
Selling into that event.
Yep. Yep.
How's the SPY looking right now?
SPY's
haven't done a whole lot of trading. I've tried to hit some of these mover names, but I've hit them small, and I would just say I'm mostly flat on the day. I've got a tiny bit of profit, but I'm mostly flat. Yeah,
I'm down. I'm underwater just a tad here on SCNX. I haven't really done much. I'll be honest. The market has not been great for a whole bunch of plays. At least I haven't felt that way. See if we get SCNX to move above 2.
Haven't been getting the follow through that we usually see in these better trading environments, like we were getting last year. Not getting that much of that right now. And, a lot of people are selling off, taking profits. So anything that ATER, this thing's still ripping. Anything that's getting a big move up is just being sold into. People don't want to be in these names anymore, so they're unloading their bags.
ATR has been one of the strongest off of our list here today. Reddit on the relative volume scanner looks like the Amazon chart here, a little bit of a dip out of the open and bought back up. Tesla gave back a little bit of its pre-market gains.
ATER approaching an area of consolidation. This goes back from the beginning of 2024 and the end of 2023 where this consolidation is. So let's see. I would say about 385 might be the strongest point.
SCNX, sorry to interrupt you here. SCNX is pulling, stopped out of that on that pull. It's pulled right beneath the 200 EMA on the 5 right there. SCNX, no go. No bueno.
Looks like ADTX after that drop, it's trying to recapture VWAP. It's moving right up to it right now. Just be careful if it doesn't capture the VWAP. We could see this thing pull.
Yep.
Nastily.
I like it.
For the quantum names that are polling, Ionic has kind of been holding up here. Not like
that's the only one that's green still. Hood with a nice move here, and actually more call buying here on Hood. That was actually a pretty nice sweep there.
So ADTX right up to VWAP. Hasn't crossed yet. Actually, it went right to, what is this? 897, almost to $9. VWAP, I have it at 902, so almost there.
Mullen is popping. Look at this chart.
That looks like the hill that Nicola rolled down.
How is this stuff even legal? How is it still trading?
We know the answer to that. We know the answer to that. We say it all the time. Yeah. NASDAQ loves their fees.
Yeah. Seeing here that CNBC saying NVIDIA CEO is moments away. They must mean at the conference. I don't think that they are going to have Jensen join them today, but could be wrong about that. Here's your NVIDIA chart right about where it opened here. This little dip and rip back to its opening price here. OKLO calls getting bought. CMG, which is one of the stocks that we talked about yesterday on Happy Hour, seeing some calls getting bought there as well. Meta, not going to test its 200-day yet anyway. See what happens after the Fed, but Meta here trading higher.
A couple of you saying that XHLD, that penny stock that I was looking at from Massware, was getting going. It looks like it's getting some volume. And if it does start moving, I'd be looking at 95 cents as a resistance area. That's where we traded up to in the pre-market this morning.
Celsius getting mentioned. Someone asked about this earlier, and I don't think we covered it. Celsius, I still think we're waiting for this spot here, right? This $36 spot before maybe it prints 40. Does look like maybe a bottom's been put in here.
C-Spot, ADTX went up to their VWAP like we were talking about. And okay, so now here comes the rejection.
On which one? Sorry?
ADTX.
ADTX.
Yeah, so rejected at VWAP, come back down to this consolidation here. May end up testing the 65 EMA again. It could end up knifing through it as well.
LSE, a number of folks watching this one here. Actually, this is a good mention here, chat. Volume actually looking pretty good. That volume spike there above the VWAP. Maybe this does get going here. This one a little too spread for me, but Kathy, C-Spot, Jonathan, looks like you folks are on top of this. 13, I'm going to leave LSE up here for a sec. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. This one trying to move up to that trend line here that we established in the from the pre-market highs. We'll see if we end up getting that. BDTX, this is still contemplating whether or not to lose its 65 EMA or not. A little bit concerned about that one. ADTX, that one pulled after hitting the VWAP. TRNR, this one also beneath VWAP, but trying to recapture. What else? Rigetti with a big turnaround after going right down to 10.11, turned around, huge candle all the way back up to VWAP. Oh, hey, no problem. That's right, no problem. Sorry, I didn't have more information on that one. I just don't have without looking at the filings. I don't know enough about that company. I know it'd take a little bit of time, which right now I'm sorry I don't have. What are we all looking at right now? Looks like the quantum names are starting to rebound. ADTX start to go lower, getting close to 10:30 a.m. Yep, that's a great point. We have 25 minutes before volume is expected to really start to evaporate. Looks like
thank you.
Like, no problem. Looks like LSE is coming back down to the 65 EMA. Might get some support there. I can't say for sure. But Ryan, we were also mentioning that the quantum names had a big rebound.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. ADTX, this is what I was worried about. Now we're testing the 65 EMA and potentially losing it after getting rejected at the VWAP.
Did we those quantum names do you think we're just popping because of is there any reason for it? I guess let's put it that way. Any reason just trading action? Okay, this is just a little bit of like regressive trading action. That's not really, I don't think that's necessarily news based. Still don't see him coming, or excuse me, I still don't see Jensen Huang on CNBC. So I don't think it's him talking about any of that.
CF4 has been going to take a stab at BDRX from 221. And looks like LSE is slowed down. BDTX, that's trying to
curl.
Yeah.
Volume is really kind of dried out here, but this is indeed trying to curl.
Yeah, it seems like 230 to 235 might be the resistance area, but if it moves through that, then I'd be looking at VWAP as resistance.
Jay here mentioning Mosaic. Mosaic has been very good since earnings, more of a value commodity play. Jay, you have any other commodity plays that you're looking at? Or 13?
Let me see here. Just, I've kind of been on, we're talking commodities like materials. I've been on copper for a while.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
This is a nice push above the 200-day. See if that can take out 29 here on Mosaic. FMC is one of the other ones that's continuing to fill the death gap that it made. FCX, well, that's one of the copper names that you were talking about.
Yeah.
This is doing a really good job holding above that trend that we drew here the other day. This actually looks like this wants to push higher here. FCX.
Yeah, I still would like to see a back test of that trend line and then a nice move up and away from it after that back test. That would be ideal. All right. Yeah, these quantum names starting to come back after some of that selling.
The April 40 call has some pretty big volume on FCX today, but it did have some pretty big open interest. I wonder if that is profit taking. What else we can figure out? Go ahead.
Christoph mentioning ATER hitting a new high of day. It's correct. 350 is the current high now. Getting a pull since then. Boeing also turned around a little bit after reaching 72 172.17, getting support from its VWAP. Not looking very strong at the moment. I would be concerned about VWAP getting lost here.
Rejected at its 50.
Looks like LSE is trying to push higher, looking for that trend line area. Just be careful; it's still very spready.
It's done a good job holding above its VWAP here.
Yeah.
ATAR getting mentioned again. You folks is making another move. This pulling back. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the VWAP there. ATER. Nike puts. I see them. 73. Those are actually pretty big. Those were multiple transactions at that 73 put too. Earnings tomorrow after the close. What do we think on Nike? Does anyone have an earnings trade here on Nike? Thank you, Jay. LEU. Yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Thank you, buddy. LEU. So, okay, this is one that we've talked about quite a bit. This and CCJ both moved quite a bit. Jay, I love this. This came all the way back in here. I've been nibbling 70 to 74 area. So, okay, let's see if we get another move here in LEU. Jay, starting to buy here again. Appreciate this one. Let me take a look here real quick.
Okay. Looks like BBAI is trying to make its way to, it's up right at the doorstep of 3. It looks like it's trying to get over 3. It's been rejected multiple times since this move back up towards that level. We get over 3. Looks like, I think 3 to 305 needs to just get completely taken out. That's where all the resistance has been at this morning. You can see at 305, we've been up there twice already, rejected both times.
Real quick, Jay, quick question here. LEU, so I know that you're nibbling there, so it sounds like you're kind of waiting this out. I think if this comes down to that 200-day, if this comes down to 65, that's probably an ad spot for you, isn't it? And that also lines up really nicely where this thing, I don't even know if it gets down there. That's interesting, though. Appreciate you mentioning that. I've actually had this one on the back burner with no position.
Izzy is mentioning DJT. They had news with Roku. Let's see what that news is. They launched Truth Plus on Roku. So the option for non-woke TV. I wonder what that programming is like. It looks like it's
probably just a whole bunch of people getting mad at each other again. I'm so tired of some of this stuff, honestly.
It looks like it's trying to get into the 21 handle. I've honestly not looked at DJT in a while. So
me either.
I haven't seen it this low since before we started the election.
Before the election, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. I don't really have very many levels of support. Actually, you draw a line of support around where we bottomed here at about 1859. You look to the left. That's about where we were getting resistance back in 2023. At the end of 2023, and then we finally broke out of that at the beginning of 2024. So we could be at bouncing off a pretty strong support area there.
Let's also we have a fib level here at 2109, the 0.786 level, 2109 DJT. Okay, ATAR. This is still holding above its VWAP. I think it's trying to build to go higher. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to do that. BDTX. This is trying to curl, maybe get back to its VWAP. BDRX. This came all the way back into the 200 EMA on the 5. It's trying to bounce again. I don't trust that one at all. Sarepta, ticker SRPT. This is still trying to come up off the bottom. CRGX. The workforce reduction, this is coming back to where it started. Tiger, this continuing its move higher. Boy, this was the buy yesterday. Stupid of me to mess around with the other stock yesterday.
All right, so LSE still hanging out up here, trying to hold 14. BDTX, that seems to be trying to move up towards its VWAP. BDRX, this thing, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say a Hood. I was basically just running through some of the tickers too. I'm sorry, 13. Hood is trading up out of the open here.
Reddit, wow, what did it do? Did it go up or down? Up. Well, it went down then up. Went down to 105.50, and now it is up over almost 112.
Signet, we did get that test of 60, not strong enough to go through it yet. Here's your Reddit chart.
I know this is the bad one, but you could draw a trend line with BDRX starting from the high at 331 and drawing it through the high from 955. That was at 265, and that's the trend line that this stock has to break. Yeah, just like that. All right, TRNR, that's coming through its VWAP again, or trying to.
William Sonoma here, down after earnings. So Jay here, this is an interesting question. I posed this one to the group here. We can talk about it. Nasty pull on earnings. Was that the top of the S&P 500? William Sonoma, generally a pretty, their customer base fairly wealthy. And so I think, tell me if I'm right here, Jay, you're wondering if now maybe maybe even the wealthy are pulling back a little bit. Maybe that marks a top for the S&P 500.
Oh.
Down, William Sonoma down almost 12% here. Is it a sell the rip again? So this is a really good question. Yeah, I think so. I'll just make a call. I think so. But just sticking with my plan, again, I've been covering this for several days. We talked about it here this morning. The spot that I'm really looking to kind of sell the rally at is going to be this 200 if we can get back up there. And so, again, I really want to leave a caveat out here because we'll see what the Fed does to the market. But a move up here, 573 and some change, this is where I'm looking to maybe take a short. And this is where I would like to sell that rip.
The market is approaching the highs from yesterday. The high from yesterday was 565 and 2 cents.
Yep.
The high from today was 565 7 cents. So
just above it.
It's trying to get above this 565 and 16 cent previous all-time high. That's the level of resistance I'm seeing here. They keep butting up its head up against. So that's going to be the level to close over. Otherwise, we're coming back into 561, I think.
Jay here. I'm not sure, Ryan. I'd say consumer discretionary has been full of landmines. So real quick, here's a quick glance at the heat map. Really, the thing that stands out here: Gilead and Intel having kind of a tough day. I guess Progressive also having kind of a tough day. Your consumer discretionary stocks, at least from the heat map here: Amazon, Home Depot, Tesla, McDonald's, Booking. These have kind of been landmines, right? They've been great, and then all of a sudden something happens. Not all that great. Looking pretty good here today. On a lot of those. Healthcare, consumer staples look to be a little bit weak. Those are and Utes. Those are generally sectors that are strong when the market is in a downturn. Seem to be weak here today.
What is a Ute?
Utility.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry. That's just force of habit.
Movie reference.
Oh no, I didn't get it. What is that from?
My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, that's the classic too. God, I feel bad about that. Sorry for dropping the ball on that one.
That's okay. We'll get you caught up at some point.
At some point. At some point. Can't take me anywhere.
TTD is going to be a big winner. Where did that end up going? Is that down to what we were looking for? That 45 area? No, it's starting to curl. It looks like it's getting support. Which would make sense, or it's just getting ready to take the next leg lower. So that's also a possibility. Watch this thing, bounce back up to the 20-day SMA and just get rejected. Just watch that craziness happen.
I hope it happens just because I like craziness. Here's a chart for Gilead. This is down 3.3% here. Let's see. This was yesterday. Major cuts to HIV prevention funding. Gilead Sciences just could be impacted by the prevention cuts. Gilead drops 3% to 107 after the funding cuts. So I see what you mean by the news-based thing there in Gilead. Gilead actually looking like it might try and take new lows here. Lucid, weren't we looking at this yesterday? Inability to get above 250. Looks like it's trying it again. Lucid.
Yeah. Good luck, Lucid.
FY, appreciate you guys. C Spot, by the way. Yeah, anytime I forget a Marissa Tomei movie quote, I blame myself. I blame myself. I'll try and be 2% better. Jay, I like this. FYI, Utes is the Brooklyn accent for youths. You learn something every day around this place. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that. Lucid, let's see if this can hit 250 and maybe break that. It struggled all day with it, or I guess all morning with this 250 level yesterday.
Marissa Tomei talking about positive traction and hunting. Two of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah. Yep. Did anyone see, I think she released like a picture of herself on like her 60th birthday. And she looks like she's 28. It's just incredible. 3 cheers for Marissa Tomei.
And her health routine.
What's that?
And her health routine.
Yeah.
Looks like LSE is about to it's trying to push up into new highs. Same thing with BDRX, the bad one. This is trying to push over the trend line and make its way up to VWAP. BDTX still sideways, the good one. I love that we have good ones and bad ones that we're referring to.
Hey, you did it.
I just think it's funny.
Lucid up at 250 now. I wonder if we have enough to tip this over this time. NBIS puts coming across the wire here. NBIS actually trading up out of the open here. Dell puts. Dell also trading up.
LSE with a nasty pull through VWAP.
UTE is an Australian SUV. Like I said, you learn something here every day, even if you're not trying.
I bet all Australian Utes like to buy it.
Here we go.
Oh, man. BDRX, keep an eye on this one, the bad one. It's trying that trend line.
Oh, it is trying the trend line here.
ATER VWAP says graph Wierta. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I probably didn't.
You tried. Hey, good old GoGo, one of my favorites. It's a oldie but a goodie here. GoGo trading up here, 6.6%.
A lot of sideways action in some of these names we've been seeing. The quantum names are selling off again. Rigetti just made new lows.
It's interesting that we got a pop here right out of the open. But I am going to stick with what I said earlier. I still think that the big move is going to happen after the FOMC today. Maybe it will just be a nothing burger, but I don't know.
Graph Rida, okay. I'll pronounce it better next time.
Graph Rida, like Flow Rida, but Graph Rida. I don't know.
Boeing with a really nice bounce off VWAP now, making new session highs.
Fairchild mentioning that GoGo is a short squeeze candidate. Indeed, actually, I've seen that a number of times over the history. That company loves to get bet against. And when that short interest climbs, it absolutely can be a short interest play. Good stuff, Fairchild.
Okay, so what's
Celsius
interesting?
getting. We've had a number of people mentioning Celsius here today. It continues to climb. We took out 31 now. What was the level? 36, right? 36 is the one we're really looking at. Next stop, probably 40.
Well, it got past 30, which is an important level. 200-day SMA is the next big level for me. And I think we're coming right down to the 35.80. Did you just say 35.80?
I don't
Or
know. I said
what was the level?
36, but that's really
36?
close to 35.80. So,
Yeah, yeah, that spot I like. Okay, so 36, right? Yeah, right there is I agree with, because that's right about where the 200-day is.
and so I'm on my intraday chart, so I have the EMAs, not the SMAs. That's why I was so confused here. The 200 EMA is at 35.87.
Yeah,
So
pretty close. I mean, mine's anyway. We're looking at the same thing. Crocodile Dumb Me, BA up because of the astronauts? No, it is not. That was
there was a new order for 17 planes from Japan Air. Let me make sure I get those numbers right before I just completely butcher that. Boeing shares are trading higher after the CFO, Brian West, provided an outlook on the business and commentary on its cash expenditures. Let me see. We did have a note here. Japan Airlines adds 17 single aisle planes to its Boeing order. There's your positive news driving Boeing 6.5% here today.
Yeah, the whole you know it, Line. The whole thing with Boeing and the astronauts, that's not good, because their stock went down because that whole ordeal pretty much doomed their space segment of their business.
XHLD coming up to that pre-market high. This does look like it's going to try to do a dollar holla here. We'll see.
There you go. Lucid, BlackBerry. What's BlackBerry doing today, Mike? It's up pretty good. Still looking to get above that 50-month SMA. Couldn't do it last month. Maybe it does it this month.
Lucid through 250.
See, man, these quantum
yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. 13. All of the quantum names getting flattened right now.
Punished. Wow. Well, looks like that trade's over for now. DJT trying to make a new high. Looks like Signet Jewelers kind of just went to 60.25, and they said that's good enough and went sideways. BDRX having a hard time with that trend line. If it can't capture it this candle, I think this may end up going down.
Oh, I might have drawn the trend line wrong then. Yeah, I sure did. Hang on a sec. There we go. So now it's actually testing that here. I still actually have this above the trend. We're pretty much right at that trend line. All right. Let's see. Trading. Scalpers that I trade with, BDRX, XHLD seems to be about it.
No,
there's a report the Vikings are strongly considering Aaron Rodgers in sports news. Let me know if Felicia's out there. Anyway, you were going to say, seriously?
Yeah, that guy's getting passed around. Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons. Izzy, let's see. I was seeing something else, but that's passing by. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Oh, well, because they didn't perish in space. Well, I don't think that's going to make a difference on Boeing's stock, because once the Starliner program was not going to be used, bring them back, the whole move happened then. I don't think that they're suddenly going to get an inflow of contracts because they didn't die in space. The whole thing with Boeing, that move's been priced in. ADTX getting some movement here. Looks like it'll try to get back up to VWAP at the very least.
TIGR flirting with that $10 level. Intel move lower here, down 5.5%.
It had some good moves.
Yeah, that's given back some of its recent move.
Well, let's see. Is it still above the 200-day SMA? It is.
I see folks buying IONQ calls into this move lower.
And it's starting to rebound as a result.
DJT calls. We talked about that one earlier. That's continuing to print and move higher. Yeah, GM calls. We talked about the partnership with NVIDIA. Really kind of a nothing move after that.
So as long as Intel holds above the 200-day SMA, I think that it still has a good shot of going higher to fill that gap and get to 30, like a lot of options are implying that it will. What was that? The call wall at 30? We talked about yesterday?
Yeah. Yep. Sure did.
Yes, sir.
Powell's at 2:30. The conference is at 2. The announcement is at 2. The press conference is at 2:30. Get it right, Rhino. Talking to myself.
Yep. So we'll have a little bit of time for the market to digest what they're seeing. And, I think you may have already talked about it this morning about how this probably won't be an event, like a big market moving event. But I think what is going to be important is the projection materials that they're going to give us.
That was exactly what I said here today. I actually, again, I don't think Felicia's out there, highlighted her comment because she asked what a lot of people are thinking. If we're all expecting the same thing, what's all the hubbub about? But you're right. Those projections, I think that's it, 13.
Yeah, we are all expecting the same thing. We're all expecting there's no rate cuts. CME is saying no rate cuts. Everybody's saying no rate cuts. It's just everybody's saying something different about when we're getting rate cuts or if we're getting rate cuts. So these projection materials might give indication who's right about that and who's wrong. And if more people are wrong than right, then you might see some weakness in the market.
What producer on earth are you doing?
It's the shuffle.
It's the shuffle. Oh, we had some. Oh, it's a different producer. The one that's still on vacation mode. I got it.
MicroStrategy offering preferred shares with 10% yield. Anybody buying those preferred shares? It's a bit MicroStrategy.
Oh, it's MSTR. Sorry, I thought you said Microsoft.
I did. I started saying Microsoft and I had to change it. Sorry about that. I don't want anything to do with MicroStrategy right now. Don't really want to touch that one right now.
Anne Marie, me too. I work with a great group of people. I'll tell you that.
Oh, they keep you on your toes.
They sure do, man. They sure do. They sure do.
Crocodile Dummy wants some more close-ups. C-Spot saying BDTX, that is starting to move up closer to VWAP. See if we get a break over that. That's going to be at 244 is where I have VWAP. How are some of these other ones? Looks like we got that rejection from BDRX. It's still trying that trend line again. Really wants that VWAP at the very least.
Sailor said, just sell a kidney. Izzy saying, Ryan, a roll is coming, I think. Okay, so you think the market kind of pulled. Let me ask you, Izzy, let me have you tighten that up a little bit. Do you think that it rolls or pulls prior to that Fed announcement and discussion, or are you saying that at some point today we probably just roll as a result of that? Let me know. If you said it's coming, I guess you're not really specifying a time. Let me know. Pre or post FOMC, Izzy?
Yeah, so we did get up to that 565 and 16 cent level in SPY, traded slightly over it, but now we've come back in. Could be setting up to push higher So maybe we're not done with the move yet, but volume really is starting to fade. So I don't know if we'll see much movement north from this. Could this be the situation like we saw yesterday after we made this move, which is this opening move here out of the market? We may just end up chopping around the rest of the day, just kind of going a lot of back and forth around this 565 area. We shall see. And it is 10:30. Yeah, it's 10:30. So volume is going away. It's going away, folks. All right.
So just looking around here real quick.
Yep.
Izzy saying he thinks the market rolls prior to that. That would actually set up for a move higher after the Fed decision. See which one we get there.
Yeah, because when the Fed speaks, market leaks.
That's right.
Well, if we get a lot of selling into that event, it might bounce while he's talking. That's always possible. But I don't want to make any predictions. I think a lot of people are on the same page here. They just don't want to have that risk in the market while he's talking.
Space here at the highs.
That's been crazy. That's been on the move lately, and I haven't looked into why. Because I only look at this as a space tourism. And with a weakening consumer, I'm not sure that that's really the play to be getting into right now. But we'll see.
EOSE. This is we've covered this one on the show quite a bit here. EOSE. A nice little day here today.
Yeah, who knows with this roller coaster? We're in the year of the snake. We're going to go back and forth a lot. We're going to slither around the prices.
That's right.
It's going to be this type of year. We have a president who, anytime he speaks, he changes market directions. So
market and individual stocks. No stranger to moving both.
I'd say fasten your seatbelt, but you're probably going to need a 5-point harness at this point. Jerome has that negative energy. Space price target was lowered. Yeah, see, I have no idea why. I don't know if that's why it's running lowered to 325 or above that. Might be just a short squeeze because you've got 30% of the float short and almost 7 days to cover. So that's really the only thing I could lean on as to why we're seeing this upside movement. But I just don't think space tourism is really. I'm saying all this because I'm just thinking out loud. I haven't looked into this to know why it's really moving, but the short interest seems to make me think that's what we have here. It's just a short squeeze, but I don't know that for 100% fact. Hey, you know what, Sweet One? You keep trading those shakeups. It's working out for you. Congratulations. It's awesome. Hans is in BTC futures from 83K.
That was a fairly decent bounce earlier today, 83.7. Actually, it looks like this is going to try and take out the highs, the 5-minute formation on the futures.
Yeah, let's see. For me, I think 85,000 needs to get recaptured. There's also the 200 EMA, daily EMA in the way at about 85,500. Those are the areas right now I need to see get taken out if I think in order to make me think that we're going to go back up. But for now, I'm just going to wait and see. All right. How are these quantum stocks doing now? Are we getting a rebound? Yes, we are. Probably going to end up rebounding and coming up to the lows that we were putting in after we opened. So for Ionic, that would be about 22.75. So it's pretty close to that right now. QBTS, that one's actually been trying to get back above the lows it put in out of the open. Doesn't look like it's having a really great time recapturing that. That level, by the way, is going to be 1010. and it's right. It's like literally
Right there.
It's right there right now. So we need to see this get recaptured, and if it can't, then it looks like this is also going lower. Maybe down to yesterday's open at 948. No, not necessarily the open, but the move down out of the open. Looks like BDRX finally is making that break through that trend line and trying to get up to VWAP. I would expect it to, have a hard time getting above VWAP, especially with the way the volume looks. But you could see a big old buyer come in and just take out the VWAP and help push this up higher. So we'll see if that's what happens with this. But right now the resistance is at about 260. ATER, no longer a good one. After hitting 350, it lost VWAP and is continuing to go down. Might get some support from this after hours consolidation from yesterday. It's about at that level. So
trade might be over on this one, honestly.
Yeah. Then maybe if it loses 280, I would agree with that for sure. And certainly looks like LSE is trying to move off its VWAP, but also volume looking really thin. As we've been mentioning with a lot of these, volume is really thinned out with a lot of these names, especially after 1030. So here we are grasping at straws.
Yep. Netflix here, this actually looking pretty good here today. 30-point move here on Netflix.
So Izzy, that's great. Boeing CFO says losses are shrinking this quarter. C-Spot saying Trump was on a call with Zelensky. He just spoke with Putin yesterday.
Yeah, that was supposed to be, I think, 10 a.m. Putin, I think, rejected the ceasefire deal that was presented.
ADTX, sorry to interrupt you. ADTX is a breakout over VWAP.
Right, over VWAP. I'd like to see higher volume on that. QMCO, right back to its VWAP here.
Take care, Line. Enjoy your nap.
Space still high at the highs. And I don't feel good about any of this stuff.
It's just at any moment you just have this feeling like it could just pull the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah, and it's like I want to be patient because I'm expecting the market to move down, and it's just I still want to trade, and I'm like, don't blow it.
The volume just doesn't look good enough to really take a stab at any of these things because you're just wondering to yourself, okay, well, it might get up to where I want it to go, but if it's not going to go much higher, or there's going to be not enough volume to take it to the levels that you're expecting it to go. So the follow through, it hasn't been there very much lately, especially with just how weak the market's been. All right, now we are looking at a bit of a trend here with LSE. This needs to recapture VWAP and break through the trend, or else this is probably going to be done too. I think this we can call this over if it starts to lose its 12, 8. No, maybe if it loses 13. If it loses 13, this is probably done. BDTX, that's sideways. BDRX, that's testing VWAP now. So this the bad one finally getting some movement, and now it's pulling a bit, so it might still be the bad one. But ADTX, this thing with the nice breakout over VWAP, 1020 was the pre-market high. It's looking, I'd say it's looking for that.
GTX, more calls here. These the 44 calls. Boy, what a rip that has been on. Happy hump day, Bear. Bear down, baby.
What's happening with GIS? That's General Mills. I have to look and see what the news is.
News here. General Mills shares are trading higher after the company reported a mixed Q3 result. said it expects macroeconomic uncertainty to continue impacting consumers in Q4.
Yeah, they're kind of getting it from two angles right now. They have this move to have food providers, not put so many additives in their foods, and then you also have a weakening consumer. So they're getting it from two angles right now. Yeah, warning on snacking slowdown. Yeah. Yep. There's going to be a push for healthier eating.
Yep. And I think that that's one of the things that can ramp too. Once it really kind of starts, I think that could really expand. It's really incredible how much better you feel and how quickly it happens when you start making some of those adjustments.
ADTX pulling back. Absolutely, it is. It's right back. It's right down to VWAP again. Nasty pull. Same candle too. You just can't trust a lot of these right now, especially in this low volume environment.
Nope.
It's probably just going to end up being another TQQ and SQQQ day.
Well, you know what? What we need for that to happen is we need for those to really start to get extended. I mean, like even the SQQQ move here, was that really extended enough to buy it down here? I mean, I would have liked a little bit more than that. You know what though? We might actually get that after the Fed. This actually might be some of the things to watch during that decision. But yeah, yesterday it was kind of disappointing. It was just a little too early. I did trade it again, but I wasn't able to get all the way back to flat. I was able to kind of chip away at it, but didn't get the movement that we were hoping for yesterday.
Yeah, TQQQ, that got extended away from its VWAP pretty nicely this morning when it went up to 61.69.
Yep.
That being almost $1 away. It seems like it's if the TQQQ and the SQQ, when they get to be about like $1 away from their VWAP, that's when they start to reverse. I've started to notice. So here we are with the
dollar plus for me on TQQQ, more like 75 cents to $1 on the SQQQ, and that's just because the price is different.
Yep.
Here comes the roll that Izzy was talking about. Izzy, which one should I give you?
It's a trap.
Was it that first up move? Was that a trap? Nonetheless, you get a nice one up for that call. It does look like we're rolling here.
XHLD, you guys trading that one. That's great. I mean, didn't have enough information on it for me to really be interested in it, but you guys are hitting it.
Yeah, my thought is if you guys do well with penny stocks, awesome. Congrats and awesome. Just my recommendation, no matter which stock it is, make sure you get those gains booked.
ADTX still hanging in there.
And folks, just a quick look at the schedule ahead here while we have kind of a slower moment. We have an all access coming up here in 4 minutes. We have story trading after that. And then we have futures fever after story trading. So that's what's on the docket here today. Yes, I do know that call with Zelensky is going on. I don't see any headlines coming out from it yet. Maybe some anticipation. I don't know.
AMD CEO visiting China. Looking to tout compatibility with DeepSeek, Alibaba models. Look, I guess it's just trying to fill the void where NVIDIA is not allowed to. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe TQQ tries to bounce here. I'm not sure. So there's the move down with LSE. That thing looks like it's finished. Tomorrow is another day. That's right.
Indeed. And C-Spot, I think that's a good way to look at things too, because every day that I wake up, I definitely feel like, man, I really want to attack this. And sometimes it's just not the right day to push the gas pedal. And you have to remind yourself tomorrow's another day and the conditions might be more in your favor. Probably staying calm and maybe backing off has saved me probably the more money than maybe even chasing, right? Don't push it. Don't push it when the conditions aren't right.
Yeah.
said, I don't really see anything great here today. I guess Netflix would have been all right off that initial dip. I don't trade Netflix back and forth. Maybe I should. Better than Tesla today. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just kind of looking around, seeing a lot of sideways action. Don't know what you want to look at. And if there's anybody that wants to take a look at something, we can do that with the time I have left, unless we're moving on to something.
Yeah, well, we're gonna go. Let me see what the actual time is here. All right, we've got 50 seconds left.
Oh,
you know what?
gosh.
You know what? Yeah. So why don't we just wrap here,
Okay.
and we'll see what tomorrow brings. So closing words for the group here.
Well, if this doesn't look good for you, then maybe do something else other than trade, because tomorrow is another day, as C-Spot was saying, and we do have the FOMC meeting later on today. We might get some better movement closer to that if you just feel compelled to return to your computer. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, folks, and we'll have some more things that we can trade, hopefully a better market. See you later. Have a good day.
Okay. Thanks, 13, for everything. Have a great one, man. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll see you on Happy Hour tonight. That is 13, folks. And you know what that means. 13's departure. You know we're coming on to All Access. It is my pleasure to bring on former Detroit Pistons mascot, Dan Leach. Dan, how you doing?
You're the current Chicago Bull, right? Aren't you the guy that's in the Bull costume?
I am not Benny the Bull. He is too short.
By the way, I just got to say, I love that 13 guy. I like 12 better, but 13, he's right there.
Okay, that's them's fighting words. We'll make sure that he hears that. Dan, really good to see you here. What do you got coming up for us?
Listen, I'm a longtime sports broadcaster, so I got my man Carson Cole, the CEO of Sport Radar, coming up. They are doing some great stuff, so very excited to talk with him, my friend.
Okay, Dan, take it away, my man. I'll get out of your hair.
Hey, I love you when you're my hair. Hey, Zingers, and welcome into All Access. I've got a wonderful guest for you today. It is Carson Cole, the CEO of Sport Radar. The NASDAQ ticker is SRAD. He's joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of Sport Radar, Carson Cole. It's fantastic to be with you today, Carson.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Great to see you.
The honor and pleasure is all mine. And listen, Carson, I'm a longtime sports broadcaster, so I couldn't be more excited to bring you in and what the incredible things you guys are doing at Sport Radar. Let's open up here and just let people know what you guys are all about at Sport Radar.
Well, we are sitting on that junction between the media business and the sports betting business. It's all about sport. We aggregate that data, we put it into products, and we're monetizing this, obviously. In the US, we have the three big leagues, the NHL, the NBA, and now the MLB. So we announced it in this quarter that we extend for an 8 years contract. We are missing the NFL, but you can't have all of them. Now, potential-wise, when we close our deal, and you saw that we did an acquisition, we announced this, we add something like PGA on top of it and a couple of other properties. So that gives us the content to fuel the solutions. And we are helping here sports betting companies to create value. We help the media business to do this. And looking into the future, of course, we are facilitating AI technology to get more and more insights. And the dream is to tell a different story for every sport fan about his favorite sport based on deep data.
And that's the beautiful thing, Carson, about sports. It's a different story every day. And obviously with the betting angle, it's the sky's the limit. I know that Sport Radar just reported record-breaking full-year revenue of $1.1 billion, obviously exceeding guidance and analysts' expectations. To you, what were the key drivers behind this growth, and how do you plan to sustain this momentum in 2025?
For 2024, and I just off from the quarterly call, and sometimes it is always tough to see it when you are ending a year which was very good, like you said. You're focusing only on 2025. I only got questions about 2020, but you're right. 24 was a great year for us. It was a tough one because we onboarded two big new rights. One is an extension with the NBA, significant, and another one is ATP tennis. With this, we had an uplift in our right costs of 65%. And we mitigated this completely, and we showed margin leverage. And I think that's the reason why the market begins. We have a very robust, scalable engine. We are by far, from a revenue perspective, the biggest in the market, and that pays off. So in 2024, it was all about execution, trying to run a tight ship from a cost side and really leverage on the new rights, but invest into technology to monetize in the future.
Sure, we'll get into that tennis stuff in a little bit. I'm a huge tennis fan, so I'm excited about that. But I want to talk about your betting and technology solutions segment. It saw a 29% year-over-year revenue increase to $907 million. What innovations or strategic moves do you believe contributed most to this growth? And where do you see the biggest opportunities going forward for expansion?
We are especially proud for the risk management and trading services. So what we do here is we get the betting tickets from our clients. We are aggregating this and we estimate risk profiles. So literally we run the complete shop for them. And this segment is so exciting because we have a revenue share. The better we do, the better we end up. And what we did here is we traded a 35 billion euros, roughly $40 billion. And the margin has improved from 9.8 to 10.7, so 100 basis points. And that is pure cash. So this service is something which is very unique to Sportradar. Beside the data, what we sell and the probability models, that was a very great result in 2024 if you look to the betting services. And of course, if you look now, where do we have opportunities? This is in running. So it's the in-game betting activities, it's the micro markets. It's the thing which is in the US only 35 to 40% in a mix if you look to sports books. DraftKings is a bit higher, others are a bit lower. But what we clearly see is we came from a zero. We are now in this corridor of 35 to 40. And we see in the UK, for example, a 70% proportion of live betting. And every percentage point pre-match shifts into live, we are earning around about $2 million more. And that is more or less a complete flow through from a profitability. Well, there is a little bit cloud services in there. We process more things, but you can say that's pure profit. So these are the main drivers in the betting segment. And what we do now is we try to stimulate this. We try to put the AV feed, the video feed with data overlays. We give different angles. We give different things. During the flight of a basketball, you can swipe, is it in or is it out? Is it 3-point? Is it 2-point? Those kind of interactive things, they should stimulate. And we see this is beginning to work in a great way. For this, you need the data, you need the real-time data, and that's the developments.
No, that was beautifully explained. I remember 15, 20 years ago, Karsten, the live betting options, maybe at the end of a quarter, end of a half, 3 games. Now it's everywhere. So the possibilities are endless. And that's so key that you guys are on top of that. And another thing, I know, the acquisition of IMG Arena significantly strengthens your portfolio at Sportradar, particularly in high demand sports like tennis, basketball, and soccer. Can you walk us through the strategic rationale behind that deal and how it fits into your long-term vision?
So we are looking when we are looking into rights, we always looking to the return of investment for those rights. So it's always the same scheme. And for IMG, we are talking about 70 sports, 70 rights which are in there. It's 14 sports. So we did the same exercise like we do when we do a rights acquisition with IMG. Of course, it's a company and it's at the end then a share deal. But the main focus was really on the rights. And then we are looking, can we put that in our engine and get more out of it? I'll give you a sample for tennis. We have now with IMG the top properties. That's Roland Garros, that's Wimbledon, and that's the US Open. So that's on the high end of the scale. That's the Grand Slams. We are only missing Australia. In between, we already have ATP, and we did great with ATP. And as a low end, we have the college sport, the college tennis, with more than 20,000 matches from UFC, basically in the US. The US is a great territory for tennis, and it is the best sport for live betting because you have so many stop signals in there, so much action. And with every point, you have more or less a 50-50 chance. So you can win your stake quickly back, and it has a very high frequency. So if that fits, and it was the case for tennis, it was the case for basketball, and it was the case for soccer, which are the biggest betting sports for us. There's a strong strategic fit. We have the biggest footprint. So it fits wonderful in our portfolio. That's the reason for this transaction. And it is accretive. So it's margin accretive, it's cash accretive, and it boosts, of course, our top line revenues.
As I mentioned, I'm a big tennis guy. Having 3 of the 4 Grand Slams, pretty freaking awesome, Carson. That's for sure. And I know that you guys at Sportradar operate at the intersection of sports, media, and betting. With your expanded content portfolio, how do you see technology such as AI, as we've kind of touched on, data analytics, or streaming, playing a bigger role in shaping the future of fan and bettor engagement, which, as you know, we all well know, is a huge sector right now?
It's a huge sector. Look, I was at the All-Stars 3 weeks ago, and all the big tech guys have been there on the panel, and I had the pleasure to speak with some of them at the end. They got a question saying, how do you see the market in 3 years for you? Netflix, Apple, you name them. And they all said, hyper-personalization, a product for Generation Alpha. This is what we see. So those 2 things, I'm telling since I think 3 or 4 years that this is really the sport consumption of the future. You're gonna need to enrich the video feed. You need to personalize it, and Sportradar sits on that information. We are sitting on the fan data, we're sitting on the liquidity from the betting companies, and we are sitting on the sport data level 1 to 5, and we have more than 70 sports with the biggest footprint. Using and facilitating these data pools, making them accessible, that's what we do. And looking to the opportunities in the future in the media segment, I think it will be probably the most innovative segment by using AI and really creating a different story, how you broadcast this and how you are doing a tailor-made product for the user. In sports betting, I think we are already further advanced. We do this already, and our clients are facilitating our data pools.
Yeah, it's very exciting times for Sportradar for sure. And just taking a look forward with, adjusted EBITDA growing 33% year over year and your free cash flow more than doubling. How does that IMG Arena acquisition impact your financial outlook for 2025 and beyond? And should investors expect that continued margin expansion and revenue acceleration?
Mm-hmm. Well, look, the difficulty here is I don't know when this transaction is closing because we have antitrust in between. If you tell me how I can influence them, that they give me a definite time when they are giving us the permit, that would be great. But I guess you can't do that. So we need to wait for basically the CMA in UK when they give us the go for this. At the moment, we anticipate that this is the case in the last quarter of this year. So we anticipate it's a 6 months. Then we only have the top line revenue for 1 quarter on our balance sheet 2025. If you look now, if you would say the transaction closes now, and if we look to our forecast, we would forecast mid-20s to a high 20s from a top line revenue growth. But at the moment, we're guiding into a 15 lowest, and we expect hopefully a bit more. So that's how you see the impact from a top line revenue. From a profitability, that's very easy. So this will be margin accretive from the first moment, and it will be cash accretive from the first moment. Why can we do this and IMG can't do it? It's not that they are not understanding the sector, but we are running simply a much bigger ship. And we have 800 bookmakers, we have 900 media companies, we are truly global business, and we have a broader product portfolio where we can put this raw material in. See the raw material and the data a little bit like a rocket fuel. So we put that into our spaceship and we are already on a good way. So see it in this way. I hope that comparison is not too offensive, but that's something how it works.
It's a brilliant liftoff. It's great to be driving that bigger ship, Carson. That's for sure. Listen, very exciting times ahead for you guys at Sportradar. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, Carson. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Hey, the pleasure and honor all mine. That was the CEO of Sportradar, Carsten Kroll. The NASDAQ ticker is SRAD. Now let's send it back to the man who hang glided off the Sayers Tower on a dare, the great Ryan Faluna.
Twice. I did that.
I thought it was only once. I thought the second time you got scared.
Nope, it was twice. Actually, the second time I made it all the way out to Naperville, which was really sweet. Dan, I got to ask you before we get over to the story trading guys.
John's.
What's that?
St. John's. I don't know if that was the question.
No. Well, okay, kind of. I was gonna say what's your biggest sleeper in the tournament? So you're gonna say St. John's?
Well, St. John's the 2 seed, so not really a sleeper.
So maybe you should wait till I finish the question. Got it.
I wanted to make myself look really smart like I do anyway. But let me just say this. I'm a March Madness master. I've got a bracket contest for your people if they want to get involved. Reach out to me offline for that one. But let me just say this. You watch out for High Point. High Point can score the basket. They play good defense. They're a 14 seed. That's a team to watch for in a first round, kind of maybe run to the Sweet 16. Really like High Point. And I think Yale. I think the Ivy Leaguers are going to get the job done. I know they lost Danny Wolf to my Wolverines, but they can shoot the basket and score at a high rate, and they play great defense, and they can smother you in a high-paced game. So Yale and High Point, 2 big upset picks.
Okay, that is awesome. I actually picked High Point myself. I've got Yale winning a couple. Really good stuff, Dan. We'll definitely reach out. I'm always interested in getting brackets rolling there. So really good stuff, Dan, and good stuff there for all access too. We'll see you next time.
Ryan, you're my spirit animal. I love you.
I'm not sure how to take that, but we're going to take it positively. We are lucky to have Dan Leach. Dan's departure leaves room for Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather, and bring you all on. I don't know how you're going to top that. I'm Dan's spirit animal. So good luck. What do you guys got coming up here on Story Trading?
Well, we missed you last week on the show.
I'm sorry, man. I was under the weather last week, but I heal like Wolverine. We're back at it today.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, today's a big day, obviously, with the Fed. Honestly, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I hope it's going to be dovish. I'm positioned for dovish, but I'm scared, to be honest with you. I'm worried about my positioning. So that's where I'm at now. It's been tough trading for the last couple of weeks. So let's dig in. Let's see. If
it has. I'm glad you said that. It's been tough. Been kind of pulling it back, but we'll see where we go. Like you said, big event here today, folks. Take it away. Enjoy Story Trading.
All right, thank you, Ryan. All right, so let's just take a look at the QQQ for the macro look over here. It's been tough for me personally since we broke below this 200 DMA. Up until that point, we were golden, man. We predicted this drop to the 200. Everything was golden. It's up over 100% year to date. But since this point here on March 7th on, I've been having trouble not only kind of predicting how the indices would bounce, but individual stock picking has been a nightmare. Godfather, you've had a win there with that Chinese gold company. So that's been working out. But
Fintech.
Other than that, man, yeah.
Yes,
Fintech.
Chinese gold as well. Yeah, yep.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, it has been incredibly hard stock picking, making predictions, on a short-term basis for the day or for a 2-day swing period, which is kind of my bread and butter, off of Catalyst. So it's been difficult. Honestly, let's just look at the QQQ for a second. I'm hoping for a bounce to the 200 DMA if we get a dovish PAL. If we don't, if we get it more neutral towards hawkish, then I fear the lows are in play on QQQ and in SPY. So, I'm just going to leave it there. I don't have much to say. Let me just run through a couple stocks and we'll turn it over to the rest of the team here. There is a stock I'm in this morning, VG, because there's a Bloomberg report out that the Trump administration could give a green light for this natural gas project in Louisiana, which was stalled by the Biden administration. If that gets approved, did some little work with ChatGPT, it could be worth $10 to $20 in the long term once they're up to full production of this natural gas, exporting this natural gas. So significant potential catalyst. It moved. It's up 5.5% on the Bloomberg report that approval could come as soon as today. So hasn't happened yet, but I'm in that. We're watching the SRAD. We saw the CEO interview just now here on Benzinga. There's on my list of stocks to look at, but you know what? I've been burned so much in the past 2 weeks playing earnings reports. Even on good earnings reports, you're not getting good reactions. So I just didn't even look at the SRAD report. I just had it on my list, but nice reaction. And we saw the headlines. I covered on the morning show that they had it looked like a nice big revenue beat. So up 6%. There's a upgrade. This is one that's working along with a few other tariff-related plays. Mosaic, I have a tariff list here that's been working consistently. You have these rare earths, MP, you have Mosaic, which is the fertilizer. The Canada tariff helps out this U.S. company. You got the steel stocks doing well. So there are some bright spots, but it's few and far between, very difficult to find. I will say in the meantime, before we take it over the Godfather, Rhett has been doing an incredible job in our community ever since I've been giving like the yellow flag sign here several weeks ago in our community. I've still been trying to find the alpha anyway, but Rhett is smart. He went to 100% cash and just been day trading on the indices. Rhett, tell us a little bit about your process and how you're doing, because you set up a channel in our Discord to do some day trading on indices, and you've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, morning, Ben. So pretty much how I go about it is normally I'll start on like a longer time frame. So I'll start out at the weekly, find key levels on the candles, and then I'll move down to the daily. Then I'll mark more key levels around where we'll be trading at for the day. And then I move into the just 5-minute candles, and I find the support and resistance. And I look at the daily moving averages along with the RSI and watching that. So today was an easy one. It was going to be, I think it was 479.60. Or hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
Hit 479.50 this morning.
I had it right here. It was up 476.90. I had it backwards. So that was a key level to watch. It broke above it, and then it went to 479.50, but I had another resistance at 61, so I was watching that. So that was an easy one, and another bounce off that level again, as you can see, to play. But currently, I've been sitting on the sidelines today because I'm waiting until after 2:30 to place a trade to see where we get
you
that
normally don't get this kind of definitive move on the morning of FOMC day. I think the catalyst, which Godfather put in the chat earlier, was some tariff-related news that there could be some negotiation and reduced tariffs before April 2nd. I think that's why we're getting this. Otherwise, it would have just been crazy chop all day till 2 p.m.
Yeah, so I was I was just going to say I was a little surprised on that one. And I actually did swing only one position, and that was LAZR. And I should have sold it when you did. I'm still up on it, though.
Yeah, the LAZR short, yeah. Okay, so Godfather, what's on your plate?
Yeah, like everybody else, I'm waiting to see which way Mr. Powell is going to lean. The current stance of a hawkish pause is potentially challenged by what we're seeing out of the soft data. I think it's clear that the backward-looking hard data does not give a lot by way of signposts for whether a recession is possible. But some of the soft data we're already at recessionary levels. You've got existing home sales, at the lowest level since back to the global financial crisis. You've got auto sales at 2018 levels. Time and time again, we've seen it in terms of bearish sentiment out of consumers, both in terms of where they expect their own incomes to be, as well as their views on inflation. So in the near term, and you're seeing it trickle down, not surprisingly, given the uncertainty created by the Trump administration's first moves here. You're seeing it in challenger hiring surveys. You're seeing it in NFIB, small business confidence. All of this is challenging the growth picture. So I think ultimately the Fed has to do more. And I think, Ben, you and I are all aligned on the fact that there will be multiple cuts this year. It's currently priced in about 60% for the June and October meetings. Nobody thinks anything happens today. About a 40% chance for the December meeting. I think those go up. I think we do get cuts at each one of those meetings. And I think ultimately the percentage probabilities go up post the presser today. That said, this is a market that still wants to sell rallies. I don't think that the CTA selling exhaustion selling it has been exhausted. I don't think that the hedge fund degrossing has been exhausted, and I don't think that this rotation or reset that we're seeing from the long onlys, certainly out of the growth sectors, into other areas that might be beneficiaries of a lower U.S. dollar, for example, has yet completed. It's not something that typically takes place in 3 weeks. So, just trying to put the move into perspective. We're down about 10%. Typically, the mean correction in the S&P for the last 100 years is closer to 14%. That takes us down to some of the levels that I know you're looking at, key levels technically on SPY and on the Qs. And I think
Yeah.
everyone agrees that there's a great deal of support, certainly in that 5,000 to 5,300 level. Markets have a way of overshooting, and markets have a way of capitulating. We haven't seen either of those things yet. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be, but as I posted in the chat yesterday, I am cognizant of the fact that we could see some near-term short covering or a bounce. The market looks like it wants to bounce here a little bit.
That's what I'm playing for. I'm playing for that short-term bounce, but you did mention the S&P. I did do an analysis on this last week for Discord that we could see I think maybe the worst case scenario would be all the way down to 490. But there's a big, the support zone, which almost looks like a magnet, especially if we break 550, would be 490 through 535. So 490 with 5 through 535, which coincides with some of those levels you've been looking at from a fundamental point of view. Those are clear magnets or support areas that could be, could head towards if we break below this 549.68 on SPY. But I mean, and I'm kind of leaning towards that we need to see that first before a great second half of the year. But I'm positioned for a short squeeze right now. I hope it works out.
Look, the Fed only has to sort of, I think, acknowledge the growth concerns, acknowledge the fact that the current stance of rates is relatively restrictive, and reiterate that QT is ending. So these are things, given we've had like 60 billion a week in terms of CTA selling in the market. You also have OPEX. There's a lot of bearish puts that are rolling off at the end of this week. So there are certainly some near-term levers that could cause the market to pop near-term, but I think they'll be faded fairly quickly. I added a little VST this morning, which is just kind of one of those gas pedals for beta that I use. I'm just listening to the market, watching the tape, and seeing things relatively lower left, upper right on most of the intraday charts today. It's a big liquid energy name associated to the AI trade, one of the big winners. So it's one of the winners that the market automatically goes to if beta has a bit of a move. So again, that's just a short-term trade. I'll get off that if
I just want to mention quick DJT. We alerted this in our Discord when it was up 5%. Now it's up 9%. Ross, in our community, we have a collaborative community where our members can interact with us and help us research stuff. So Ross found the catalyst for that was Truth Social becoming available for Roku streaming. And then I put a target up there for today at the 20 DMA in play at 2250. I didn't play it myself because, man, I've had a hard time playing Catalyst, but we did alert it, put that target out there, and it's ripping towards that 2250 target. So if anyone played that, congrats. Looks really strong today. But, man, it's been hit or miss playing these Catalysts. So I'm a little bit gun shy right now. A little bit gun shy, yeah.
It's a nice catalyst for the company, but it still has a long way to go.
Yeah, as I said in the Discord, if DJT will have any future as a company, I think live streaming video content, like a media channel, that could work. I get that, in terms of Trump's brand and a differentiating product. Like, he's not going to compete with X or Twitter or any kind of social media site. But live streaming video content under Trump's brand, I could see that being potentially worth multi-billions of dollars. So, if there's a future, this is it. And look at it pump towards that 2250 target that we mentioned in the Discord. Wow. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Godfather. How are you positioning for this from I don't know, like look, there's a few things I've been mentioning in the Discord the last few weeks. There's a few ways of going about this currently challenging environment. One of them is just focusing on the long term, saying, you know what, I'm not trying to make money in my short-term account. Let me just pick my spots. Let me look at quality companies. And when they get to good prices, let me buy those. Let me reallocate, get rid of the things I'm less convicted on and buy the stuff I'm more convicted on for the long term. That's one approach in a market like this. Another approach is what, Red is doing. Went to 100% cash and just, day trading the indices and has been killing it. Another approach is what I'm trying to do, which hasn't worked, like kind of stick with it and try to find the alpha. I've had a hard time, still up like 80% on the year, but I gave a lot back from the peak. So, but I've had been pretty much down, for the last week or so, almost every day. So it's been hard finding the alpha. One thing I am adding to my repertoire, I do have a account where I purely sell puts, and it's a small account, but I decided in my large trading account to start doing that, and it's been successful. Selling puts, I've been doing it on ASTS and on Hood, and I'm thinking of doing more of that. But the Godfather, how are you navigating this? Are you even trying to make money short term? I know you also look at long term. For me, I feel compelled.
I run two buckets, and the allocation between the buckets, the long term and the short term, changes relative to market conditions. And in this kind of choppy tape, I'm definitely doing less in the short term bucket and more in the long term bucket. I'd say it's about 70-30 right now for me. So I am DCAing into some of the long-term names that I like, because I do expect that the second half of this year, when the market starts to focus on more of the offsets or the other parts of why Trump was elected, the no tax on tips and the Social Security and the tax cuts, both for business and just talk about potentially going to a flat tax for personal and regulation, all these other things, and we get through the tariff headlines. I think it's going to be a buoyant second half of the year. So, look, there will become a time again when your growth companies or your companies that have great cash flow, double-digit top-line growth, and are trading at defensible multiples will perform again. So, you pick away and you add some of those things. In terms of short-term trades, looking for things that are working. There are always pockets of the market where the wind is at your back, and right now we're seeing it in gold. Just 2 seconds on gold and why I think it's a win-win here. Obviously, it's an inflation hedge, so to the extent that the Fed leans that way, that's potentially bullish for gold. Right now, you've got the administration really pushing hard on lowering rates. Lowering rates means lower U.S. dollar. Lower U.S. dollar drives more demand for gold. Right now, the producers are benefiting from their op costs, which are primarily diesel, and the lag in energy prices relative to the other commodities. The largest byproduct for gold production is copper. That's hitting new highs here, as an inflation trade and consumption for data center, et cetera. So for a long time, these things have traded at material discounts. And for the most part, the group is trading at discounts to NAV still. So for that reason, I'm long gold, and I'm long it through the producers, not the commodity itself. I think there's a catch-up trade. The producers typically outperform the commodity by 3-to-1, and that ratio has been 2-to-1 year to date. So I think gold can continue to perform in this market. It's a great place to sort of hide until bids come back into, and the market, gives you a bit of an all clear sign on, wanting to reward and expand multiples in growth companies again. And then, there are other small sectors, right? Like Europe, I'm along this EWG, which is the Germany ETF. Pointed out in the Discord community that, small pocket of the China trade has really been outperforming, which has been notable this week because there's been a slew of fintech names in China that reported, starting with QFin, which is, again, making another 52-week high today. Pull up a chart of QFin. Just look at this. And, there's been no growth reset in this name year to date, really. We're now at new highs. And, we saw nice reports rewarded out of FINV. We saw the same thing out of LX in their report this morning. QFin was up 10% on their report on Monday morning. You've got another name, YRD, reporting.
These are all Chinese fintech?
Yeah, these are all Chinese fintech names. And again, this isn't a fundamental trade. This is just looking for very scarce pockets. You asked the question, what am I doing in this market short term? These are the areas. And again, these are all just trades. When the momentum shifts out of these, we'll be gone. But for now, you do more of what's working and less of what isn't, right? That's really the motto.
Good job. You've been killing it with that. I've been paying for I have like a blacklist on Chinese stocks. So unfortunately, I haven't participated in that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have such a closed mind, but I've had a blacklist on Chinese stocks pretty much my whole life. Actually, you know what? I don't know. It was years ago. Like Baba was so undervalued for years and years and years. And I learned about that. What is it? That VTE structure, whatever it is in China, and there's so much fraud to on penny stocks. So congrats, you have an open mind. You've been making money on China, so you get that. When I'm off the ball a little bit, Godfather, you got me covered. That's a benefit of having more than one analyst in our Discord doing a great job. Look at this DJT heading towards that 20 DMA target we put in the Discord, 2250. That's the target. Unbelievable. I wish I played it. So that's looking good. We lost Rhett. He had some technical issues on his end. So anything else you're focused on?
Yeah, I just want to mention that, another name that sort of, it's a long-term hold for me, but it's also a short-term trade. So it covers a bit of both the things you were asking about. And I think it's a name that we're aligned on, that being Burn Technologies. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me actually check because
just tick to a new high of the day here. 2 back-to-back, almost 10% downdraft days in a row on this name. And look, this is a name that had been trading over 4 times EV to sales. It's now 3. It bounced. You pointed out. I see this on a fundamental basis as being cheap. Just around 3 or just under. And you pointed out that it's kissing nicely right at the 200-day, which is broken for a lot of tech names. But this is kind of it's more. I don't know, what do you want to call it? Consumer staple. Security is a consumer staple, I guess.
Yeah, and look at that 50-week moving average. Beautiful touch off that. So yeah, I like you. I've had this in my long term. I added this more, increased my size in long term. But when you mentioned it, I'm like, you know what? I also like it for a short term because of that 200 DMA bounce and this low RSI. So I picked up April 17th, $17.50 calls yesterday for $2.10. They're currently $2.50. Just trying to get a scalp out of that. I have a sell order at 275, which can hit pretty easily here if we get towards $19, which is what my intraday target on this is 19. We're almost there. 1860 by 1875. If we get a dovish Fed though, Godfather, this thing can really move. Like it could be up.
Yeah, one multiple today. Point on EV to sales in this thing adds about $8. So I'm looking for a return to the 2650 level. Should a bid come back in for some of these growthier names. There was an interview with the CEO that was published on YouTube just recently, and he sort of dropped the comment that anecdotally on a month-to-month basis, they continue to see the cadence that they saw in the most recent quarter. So this is a company with low float, relatively high short interest, that's cash flow positive. It's a lot like Root, right? They're just threading this needle between, they've got a lot of growth they can spend money on, but they want to maintain cash flow positivity as well. And if they just press the brake or the gas pedal on marketing spend, there isn't a lot of R&D spend any longer. So right now, demand is something that they're seeing, and they're leaning into that, by expanding both online through regular channels, Amazon, etc.
So that 26 you mentioned, that's a fundamental target.
2650 just takes you back to 4 times EV to sales. Yeah.
Okay, so that's fundamental. Looking at the technicals here, I see a quick path to about 2150 to 22, which if we do get like a 1 or 2 day bounce because of a dovish Fed, I think it can get there within a couple of days, 2150 to 22.
It's a nice growth name that's not levered to semiconductors or AI, put it that way, which seems to be an area of profit taking at the moment. It's again a gas pedal to press if you want more beta in this market for a while.
Rhett, welcome back. We got 3 minutes left. What's on your mind? No, we can't hear you.
There we go. Sorry, clicked mute.
All right.
Today's one of those days where I think it's going to be nice to go on a nice little mile or two walk and enjoy and come back and see where the market direction.
1:50 p.m. I wasn't planning on doing much today. So basically, this is a day to make sure you have your positioning right. However you want to play 2 p.m. I mean, just lots of chop here before 2 p.m. Get your positioning right. And then, I don't know, hope for the best at 2 p.m.
I will say one of the things I did do, and I already spoke with you on this one, is I did take some of my profits that I made from day trading, and I'm withdrawing and taking those and putting those into my long-term account. to see
So
some
smart.
good opportunities out there in some of these companies.
So smart, and you've been killing it. I think you've been a great leader in our Discord, taking my cues, going to 100% cash and just day trading, and you've been killing it. You know, you've been up since
Yeah.
the market started going down. We gave our warnings. You've been green. I haven't, so you've outdone me. So it's great to have a team here with people with different skills. We got Godfather, the fundamentalist. You got me, who's like the catalyst sentiment trader. And we got Rhett, who's a great technical trader. We got a little bit of everything here, and it's been awesome teamwork. So 2 minutes left, and then it's really going to be 2. The thing I'm focused on is going to be the presser. I'm sure everyone who's been doing this long enough knows that the real move happens by the time the bulk of the presser is in, and some key questions are asked by the media. And the market assesses how is Powell responding, with what words, with what tone. That determines the real move. Everything you're going to see between 2 and 2:30, going to be wild volatility, a lot of chop, maybe misdirection, and we're not going to know until folks key in and make a judgment about sentiment related to Powell's mindset. Tell you the truth, that's how I look at it. So 2:30 going to be very important to watch that presser.
Yeah, I would make another comment on that. Typically, you see a move up right away, unless there's something overarchingly bearish, and that's driven by technical factors. Primarily, as soon as the information is known, you see a volatility crush, and when that happens, again, that's just a mechanical trade where people are covering shorts, covering positions. So, things like sentiment, unless there's enough in what Powell is saying, will come in after that. And this is why we often see these immediate, jump up moves that are sold quickly. So I expect this to be more of the same, frankly.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Whoa. Hey, Ryan.
Yep. Sorry, I had a ad blocker thing pop up right as I was about to talk. All right, good stuff here, folks. We're waiting. I think we're all kind of just waiting for the FOMC. We'll see what happens. Good
Fingers
stuff here.
Crossed.
We'll see you guys next week. All right.
Awesome.
All right. Take care.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. That is story trading, folks. We're going to get over to Futures Fever here next. You don't have to do anything. I'm just going to send you over there. And we are going to stream that conference here. So good luck, everybody. Stay green, stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for all your support here today.